Chapter 623. Unexpectedly, there is such a secret technique. It can instantly increase the might of one's martial technique by 33 times. If it were a regular peak martial monarch, they would have been killed by this attack. After Sima Hong calmed down, he thought with some fear in his heart, I have to get rid of this brat. Otherwise, there will be endless trouble in the future. If I let him mature, the Sima clan will fall. Seeing Sima Hong stand up again, Xiao Chen, who was lying weakly on the ground, could not help but reveal a bitter smile. Using the strength character formula to activate the blue dragon goes to sea was already the strongest killing move that Xiao Chen could execute. Once the strength character formula was activated, any fist or leg martial technique would instantly increase its might by 33 times. The first time Xiao Chen executed the strength character formula, it was Lu Ryue's father who activated it. At that time, he was forced to execute it and could only use it. He did not know the principles behind it. After Xiao Chen advanced to martial monarch, he barely managed to learn this secret technique with Ao Jiao's help. Right now, Xiao Chen was not very familiar with it. His quintessence was not surging enough. When he executed it like this, not only was his quintessence drained, but his stamina was also completely drained. Without 3 to 5 days of rest, he would not be able to recover. When Xiao Chen saw Sima Hong slowly walking over like the Grim Reaper, he calmed down. Even if Xiao Chen had to choose again, he would not choose to lose without a fight. He would rather die than lower his head. One only had one breath left to live. Why should one let oneself live in such a sullen manner? That kind of life was not what Xiao Chen wanted. There was no point in living there. Xiao Chen sheathed the lunar shadow saber and prevented Ao Jiao from appearing. He did not intend to let her fight to the death. Xiao Chen had promised the Thunder King that he would not let the lunar shadow saber break again, even if he died. When a cultivator advances to martial sage, his body will be infused with spiritual energy for a long period of time. In the instant he comprehended the world, his physical body will become a sage body. He cannot look at it like a regular cultivator. A regular light injury can recover in a short time. His physical body's defense is also several times stronger than a peak martial monarch's. Although Xiao Chen managed to injure his opponent, he didn't injure his foundation, so it's all in vain. Even so, he can still be proud of himself. He's probably the only one in the past thousands of years who's managed to injure a martial saint as a martial emperor. Unfortunately, outside the heaven ascending platform, some of the cultivators who had rushed over to watch the show revealed expressions of regret as they sighed. Now, no one in the heavenly saber pavilion could stop Sima Hong. One could easily imagine Xiao Chen's fate. Sima Hong crossed the distance of 1 kilometer and arrived before Xiao Chen in less than 100 steps. As he looked at the weakened Xiao Chen on the ground, there was no emotion in his eyes. You should be proud to die at the hands of a martial saint. With a flip of his hand, Sima Hong thrust his sword at Xiao Chen's chest at lightning speed. Bang! Just as Sima Hong's sword was about to touch Xiao Chen's chest, a strand of scarlet saber chi descended from the sky. It carried a boundless state of massacre as it pierced toward Sima Hong's forehead. That saber chi contained a surging energy. It was like the energy of thousands of people gathered together. There was even a trace of the power of heaven and earth in it. When Sima Hong felt a threat, he sheathed his sword and sent out a sword light to meet the saber chi. Dang! The sword and saber chi clashed, and Sima Hong took 3 steps back. When he looked up, he saw that Jiang Qi had finally arrived with the 2,000 elites of the Divine Saber Camp. These 2,000 bladesmen wore tight robes and held scarlet sabers in their hands. Their eyes were cold as they looked at Sima Hong. There was no fear in their gazes, only a boundless state of massacre. Under Jiang Qi's lead, the 2,000 people formed the blood-slaughtering formation in midair. Everyone's aura merged and formed a vast aura. That strand of saber chi earlier was the result of these 2,000 people working together. This was the first time they truly forced Sima Hong back 3 steps. Jiang Qi said sullenly, Sima Hong, leave now. The heavenly saber pavilion will pretend that nothing happened. Otherwise, even if the Heavenly Saber Pavilion fights to the death, we will make you pay a price. Sima Hong smiled coldly and said, "Ignorant. How can the insignificant Heavenly Saber Pavilion make me pay a price? Today, I will show you the true strength of a martial sage." Bang! Sima Hong pushed off the ground and arrived before Jiang Qi. He brandished his sword and sword lights filled the sky. Every strike infused the power of heaven and earth into the sword technique. The 2,000 divine saber camp disciples drew their sabers at the same time. Relying on the energy of the formation, they focused all their energy on Jiang Qi. Jiang Qi did his best to block. However, when facing Sima Hong, who used his full power, he paled in comparison to the vast power of heaven and earth. Dang! 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 Sima Hong's gaze was calm as he executed all sorts of sword techniques. His speed became faster and his strength became stronger. He forced Jiang Qi to retreat in midair. Unexpectedly, the blood-slaughtering formation formed by 2,000 elites was unable to block the martial sage Sima Hong. "You dare to be so impudent with such a dog's hit formation? Break!" Sima Hong lost his patience. He gathered all the sword lights together and thrust his sword forward. Jiang Qi's saber technique shattered, and the saber in his hand was knocked away. The sword lights entered Jiang Qi's body and all the accumulated injuries erupted in one breath. He vomited a large mouthful of blood and fell weakly from the sky. The 2,000 divine saber camp bladesmen, who had been sending energy to Jiang Qi, could no longer hold on. They vomited mouthfuls of blood and fell from the sky like rain. After breaking the blood-slaughtering formation, Sima Hong landed once again. Then, he walked towards Xiao Chen with a boundless killing intent. Fight it out with him. The Supreme Elders, who originally feared Sima Hong's strength, saw Jiang Qi and the other 2,000 fall miserably from the sky. Their eyes filled with hatred as they executed their strongest moves. They released multicolored saber lights in the air and chopped at Sima Hong. Sima Hong revealed disdain as he said, "No matter how many ants there are, it is useless." Dang! Dang! Sword lights flickered. Sima Hong's footsteps did not stop. Even when facing these people's attacks, he did not stop. With each step, he swung his sword. With one sword strike, Sima Hong broke the martial techniques that these Supreme Elders had spent their entire lives researching. He knocked back the Heavenly Saber Pavilion Supreme Elders like they were sandbags. They could not retaliate at all. Is this the strength of a martial sage? This is too horrifying. No wonder he is at the top of the pyramid of the Tianwu continent. Even the strength of a sect cannot stop him. The Heavenly Saber Pavilion is probably going to suffer a calamity. The cultivators who rushed over to watch the excitement revealed gloating expressions. The rise of the Heavenly Saber Pavilion was not a good thing for them. Stop him. We cannot let him kill senior brother Xiao Chen. When the Heavenly Saber Pavilion disciples gathered around the heaven ascending platform saw Sima Hong getting closer to Xiao Chen, their blood surged. They could no longer hold themselves back and launched themselves at Sima Hong, all for the sake of stopping Sima Hong and winning a chance for Xiao Chen to survive. You are not even comparable to an ant. How dare you block my way? Sima Hong revealed an impatient expression. He could not even be bothered to swing his sword. Instead, he waved his left hand gently. Wind blew from all directions, forming a strong gust of wind. The Heavenly Saber Pavilion disciples flying over were knocked back a kilometer by the strong wind. The sound of footsteps grew louder and louder. Sima Hong arrived before Xiao Chen once again. He looked at Xiao Chen and said in a cold voice, "I never boast. Now, do you know the consequences of your wrong decision?" Xiao Chen's pale face was expressionless. He only said coldly, "If I don't die, I will wash the Sima clan in blood in the future." Ha ha ha. Who can save you? When Sima Hong heard this, it was like he had heard a joke. He laughed arrogantly, "Who dares to offend a martial sage to save you? You are still dreaming even at death's door. Go to hell and destroy my Sima clan." Arrogant. Just at this moment, a cold snort came from the horizon. The person who spoke seemed to be far away. However, the voice sounded like it was right beside Sima Hong's ear, speaking softly. These two conflicting feelings merged together. Sima Hong's expression immediately changed. He felt an extremely dangerous aura and quickly turned his head to look. However, before he could react, a wooden box seemed to have traveled through time and space. It suddenly flew over and crashed into Sima Hong. Pu Ci. The small wooden box seemed to contain an unparalleled force. Sima Hong vomited a mouthful of blood and went flying back. The wooden box landed in front of Xiao Chen with a xiao sound. The words, like the emperor descending personally, were written on the front. No one dared to look at them directly. Sima Hong wiped off the blood from the corner of his lips and shouted angrily, acting all mysterious. The Tianwu continent no longer has Emperor Wu. Die! After Sima Hong spoke, he launched himself at Xiao Chen in an even more ferocious manner. Ka Xie! Ka Xie! The 4 wooden boards of the wooden box fell off one by one. A simple and unadorned saber floated quietly in the air. A horrifying aura spread out from the saber like it could topple mountains and flip seas. Before this aura, Sima Hong was like a drop of water in the vast ocean, unremarkable. The aura was like the vast ocean and as heavy as a mountain. When Sima Hong crashed into this aura, he bounced back in a sorry state. He rolled a few times on the ground before coming to a stop. Divine weapon. Sima Hong's eyes filled with horror. Then, he thought of something. Without saying anything else, he picked up Sima Lingxuan's unconscious body and flew out without looking back. Come, saber. An aged voice rang out. Everyone looked up and saw a gray-robed old man flying over. He casually waved his hand and the divine weapon came out of its scabbard. The Heavenly Saber Pavilion's divine weapon, which had not been drawn for many years, finally saw the light of day again. While in the air, the gray-robed old man waved his hand and grasped the divine weapon, Heavenly Universe Saber. In that instant, the world seemed insignificant under his feet. If a martial sage of the same cultivation steeled himself to run, it would be hard for the other party to stop him. At this moment, Sima Hong had already carried Sima Lingxian 10 kilometers away. In the eyes of the crowd, they were like a black dot in the distant sky. It was so hazy that they could not see the other party's movements. The old man held the divine weapon and swung it at Sima Hong. The divine weapon immediately gave off a bright light, completely covering the light of the sun. Everyone saw an unimaginable scene. Night fell quietly, and countless stars twinkled. The boundless universe seemed to have formed a scroll, and at this moment, it was unfolding. Normally, the most dazzling sun in the eyes of ordinary people was just an unremarkable star among the many stars. Compared to the vast universe, it was extremely insignificant. Chapter 624. Only the beam of light on the divine weapon remained eternal. At this moment, the gray-robed old man holding the divine weapon became the center of the sky dome realm. Xiao! A miserable shriek resounded, and the light scattered. The various mysterious phenomena vanished, replaced by the blazing sun high in the sky. However, the shocking scene just now had left an indelible mark in everyone's hearts. At the end of the horizon, everyone could see the black dot that Sima Hong had turned into. He was like a broken kite on the verge of falling. The saber chi of the divine weapon severely injured him from 10 kilometers away. Come back! The gray-robed old man shouted ferociously. He spread open his left palm, and a huge suction force formed in the center of his palm, which contained the power of the world. A horrifying whirlpool formed in the air. Sima Hong, who was 10 kilometers away, was covered in blood as he was pulled back uncontrollably. Bang! A loud sound rang out. Sima Hong and Sima Lingxian both landed on the heaven-ascending platform. Under the vast might of the divine weapon, Sima Hong knelt on one knee. His severely injured body could not help but tremble. There was a horrifying wound on his chest from which blood flowed. When Jiang Qi and the other elders below saw the old man arrive, they became very excited. However, because of the might of the divine weapon, they could not go forward to speak with him. Ka Xie. The old man casually waved his hand, and the divine weapon returned to its scabbard. The wooden box returned to its original position and quietly stood beside Xiao Chen. Sima Hong's aura suddenly relaxed, and he fell heavily to the ground. The old man's figure flashed and landed beside Sima Hong. After injuring so many of my Heavenly Saber Pavilion's disciples, do you think that is possible? Sima Hong bowed and said in dissatisfaction, Ling Tianyun, you are just relying on the might of the divine weapon. What capabilities do you have? If you were truly capable, the position of Heavenly Saber Pavilion's pavilion master would have been yours. So, it is him, the younger brother of the previous pavilion master. Unexpectedly, he returned. 40 years ago, for the sake of vying for the position of pavilion master, he lost to his elder brother and left in a huff. Unexpectedly, after not seeing him for 40 years, he actually stepped into the threshold of martial sage. Upon hearing Sima Hong's words, everyone's hearts skipped a beat. They all guessed the grey-robed old man's identity. 40 years ago, the Heavenly Saber Pavilion was like the sun in the sky. Furthermore, two absolute geniuses appeared at the same time. Furthermore, they were brothers. Unfortunately, one mountain could not contain two tigers. Ling Tianyun lost to his brother in one move. He had no choice but to give up his position as pavilion master and leave the Heavenly Saber Pavilion. However, the demonic calamity 20 years ago caused the Heavenly Saber Pavilion to lose all its elites. The genius pavilion master also died. Since then, the Heavenly Saber Pavilion had declined. Otherwise, Sima Hong would not dare to behave atrociously here, boasting that he could destroy the Heavenly Saber Pavilion by himself. Now, at the most critical moment for the Heavenly Saber Pavilion, Ling Tianyun finally rushed back. Using the divine weapon, he defeated Sima Hong in one move. When Ling Tianyun heard Sima Hong's words, he snorted coldly, ignorant fool. Even if your father were here, he would not dare to say such words. Junior brother Jiang, send someone to hang him at the gates of Saber City. When the Sima clan's people come to pick him up, the Sima clan will have to compensate the Heavenly Saber Pavilion 100-fold. A bona fide martial sage, someone at the top of the pyramid of the continent, was actually going to be hung at the city gates. Just thinking about it gave everyone a headache. Sima Hong got up and leaped forward. He shouted angrily, Ling Tianyun, you dare? Why would I not dare? Ling Tianyun kicked Sima Hong back. The force in his right leg was boundless, scattering the last bit of Sima Hong's quintessence. When Jiang Qi and the other elders heard Ling Tianyun's words, they quickly ordered people to capture Sima Hong. Then, they cuffed him up and dragged him away. Ling Tianyun looked up and saw the other cultivators who had taken advantage of the chaos to sneak in. He immediately came to his senses and quickly fled. Normally, this was a forbidden land. Now that the chaos was over, if they did not leave, it would be problematic if they pursued the matter. When Ling Tianyun saw that this group of people were rather tactful, he withdrew his gaze and ignored them. Senior brother Ling, fortunately you arrived in time. Otherwise, the Heavenly Saber Pavilion would have been destroyed, Jiang Qi and the others quickly said respectfully. Ling Tianyun muttered, there is no need to say anything more. Although I have left the Heavenly Saber Pavilion, I will not sit back and watch as the Heavenly Saber Pavilion is destroyed. Ling Tianyun waved his hand to stop Jiang Qi and the others from continuing. Then, he turned his head and looked at Xiao Chen, who had already stood up. His eyes revealed deep interest. Xiao Chen performed a cupped fist salute and said, many thanks for senior's help. Ling Tianyun smiled faintly and said, you saved yourself. You were able to resist the temptation of the divine weapon and hand it over to me. Back then, you sowed the seed of today. If not for the divine weapon's warning, I would not have rushed over. This is the result. If you could let go of the Heavenly Saber Pavilion and go directly to the Haotian sect, Sima Hong would not have dared to play such tricks. In the end, the Heavenly Saber Pavilion is a burden to you. However, this will never happen again. I will compensate you for today's matter. Based on Ling Tianyun's words, he was planning to stay in the Heavenly Saber Pavilion. The surrounding elders all revealed excited expressions, clearly very happy. With such a martial sage guarding the Heavenly Saber Pavilion and able to use the divine weapon, no one in the Sky Dome realm would dare to offend the Heavenly Saber Pavilion in the future. After that, Sima Hong and Sima Lingxian had their cultivations sealed and were hung above Saber City's walls. The commotion caused by the duel between Xiao Chen and Sima Lingxian came to an end just like that. Sima Hong, who had a ferocious aura and valiant strength, lost his reputation. He did not even gain any sympathy. When dawn arrived the next day, the Haotian sect's old Feng arrived as well. When he saw Sima Hong above Saber City, he smiled faintly. However, he did not enter the mountain and just left. Actually, old Feng was not particularly worried about Xiao Chen. He was a king-grade true dragon genius with great luck. In the Sky Dome realm, it would be very difficult for him to be killed. All sorts of things would happen. It was like heaven was looking after him, allowing him to escape from death's door. The result was as old Feng expected. The hanging Sima Hong was the best proof. Who could have imagined that a martial sage who attacked a martial monarch would end up in such a state, becoming the joke of the world? But it was this unbelievable thing that really happened in front of everyone's eyes. In the Sky Dome realm, Xiao Chen was the bearer of luck. He would not die so easily. Only in the Kunlun realm, where there were many geniuses with great luck, would Xiao Chen run into some fatal danger. 10 days later, the Sima clan's old clan head, who had already retired, personally came to apologize with 200,000 superior-grade spirit stones. Only then did he bring back the Sima father and son. When facing Ling Tianyun, who possessed a divine weapon, and the Sima clan being in the wrong, no matter how dissatisfied and sullen he felt, he did not dare to show it. Otherwise, even if Ling Tianyun said to kill the two, the old clan head would not be able to do anything. Comparing 200,000 superior-grade spirit stones to a martial sage, the old clan head could still differentiate which was more valuable. Ling Tianyun used half of the 200,000 superior-grade spirit stones for the reconstruction of the Heaven Ascending platform and for the treatment and rewards of the many disciples. The remaining half, 100,000 superior-grade spirit stones, were all given to Xiao Chen. Furthermore, Ling Tianyun also refined the inferior-grade spirit-gathering pearls and gave Xiao Chen 100 of them, fulfilling his promise. Compared to superior-grade spirit stones, the effects of spirit-gathering pearls were much better. Not only were there more of them, but they were also pure. Given this, Xiao Chen now had 200 inferior-grade spirit-gathering pearls. It would not be enough for him to use them for cultivation every day. He would use them all in a few days. Xiao Chen intended to use the spirit-gathering pearls to break through bottlenecks or use them for emergencies. For example, when he suddenly ran out of essence and needed to replenish it. If he had spirit-gathering pearls, it would be much easier. In the battle with Sima Hong, Xiao Chen felt a sense of danger. He was still too weak before a martial sage. In the future, when Xiao Chen went to the Kunlun realm, his luck would not be as strong. He could not wait for others to save him at all times. He needed to have his own trump cards. The physical body of a martial sage had already become a sage body. If he did not truly injure the other party, it would be hard to deal any damage to them. Xiao Chen temporarily gave up on severely injuring a martial sage. That was not realistic. Xiao Chen's goal was to be able to leave easily when he met a martial sage. At the very least, he needed to be able to protect himself. Xiao Chen could only raise his blue dragon cloud soaring art to great perfection and see if he could snatch a chance of survival from a martial sage. If the other geniuses of the same generation knew what Xiao Chen was thinking, they would be greatly astonished. They were still thinking about how to break through to martial monarch and how to deal with a medial-grade martial monarch. However, Xiao Chen's gaze was fixed on martial sage. He was much stronger than them, leaving them far behind. There was a waterfall at the back of Qingyan Peak. Below the waterfall was a lake 3 kilometers wide. In the past, when Xiao Chen was here, he had cultivated the dragon and tiger body sculpting art to consummation. The blue dragon was of the water attribute. Cultivating the blue dragon cloud soaring art in this lake would definitely be faster. While cultivating, time would pass strangely quickly. Perhaps the last time he looked up was the morning sun. In the next moment, he comprehended something, and the sun was already setting. When he looked up, the day and night changed. Loneliness flooded his heart like the tide. The surroundings were silent, only the sound of flowing water could be heard. However, no matter how lonely it was, he had to endure it. In his fight with Sima Hong, Xiao Chen had suffered too much. He had nearly lost his life. If he didn't want the same thing to happen a second time, he would have to endure all of this. Roaming Dragon's 9 Transformations. Above the lake, Xiao Chen shouted, and a dragon roar resounded endlessly in his chest. His figure flashed, and 9 identical clones appeared on the water. Whoosh! Whoosh! Compared to the Roaming Dragon's 9 transformations, these clones did not look any different. However, if one observed carefully, one would discover that each clone had an ethereal dragon-shaped aura surrounding them. This made the clones seem more realistic. Not only were they made of flesh and blood, but they also had a physical form and spirit. Their expressions did not appear dull. Among the small tricks of the Blue Dragon Cloud Soaring art, the Roaming Dragon's 9 transformations was Xiao Chen's favorite. This move could be used to advance or retreat. When attacking, it could confuse the opponent. When leaving, it would be hard to distinguish the real from the fake. However, it was far from sufficient to deal with a martial sage. Xiao Chen shook his head slightly, and the 9 clones merged together. A resonant dragon roar came from behind him, causing a pillar of water to surge into the sky. Blue Dragon Tail Whip. Hu Qi. A strong wind blew. Xiao Chen's body seemed to have turned into a dragon's tail, drawing a long arc on the water surface. As his figure flashed, he created a crescent moon-shaped pillar of water. Chapter 625. In a breath of time, Xiao Chen moved 5 kilometers. Everywhere the strong wind blew, waves splashed. After he stood still, the lake water fell to the ground like a pattering rain. Xiao Chen entered deep thought. He muttered to himself, the explosive power of the Blue Dragon Tail Whip is already comparable to Sima Hong's speed. However, it is not enough to increase the explosive power. The most important thing is to raise my basic speed. Time flew by. Xiao Chen stayed on the small lake for 2 months. He cultivated the Blue Dragon Cloud Soaring art at every moment. He felt that he was not far from great perfection. Now, he circulated the Blue Dragon Cloud Soaring art. As he soared into the air, the blue dragon image under his feet could exist. It would not be like before, where it could only exist for a short period of time, flickering. Xiao Chen's speed increased by another 20%. However, it was still far from the result he wanted. According to the secret manual, after the Blue Dragon Cloud Soaring art reaches great perfection, I can materialize another 2 blue dragons to aid in flight. When cultivated to the limit, I can materialize 18 blue dragons. Xiao Chen's face sank slightly. He felt somewhat frustrated. 2 months had passed, and he was still far from his goal of shaking off an inferior-grade martial sage. He had only taken a small step forward. His goal was still very far away. He stomped heavily on the surface of the water, and 18 pillars of water shot up into the sky from the calm lake. When they landed, Xiao Chen's eyes widened. When they landed, Xiao Chen closed his eyes and allowed the water to drench his clothes. He slowly calmed his frustrated emotions. Senior brother Xiao Chen, the spirit herbs you wanted are all prepared. Just at this moment, a melodious voice entered Xiao Chen's ears. Jade Maiden Peak's Chu Xinyun arrived quietly. Xiao Chen opened his eyes and circulated his quintessence. A mist rose from his body, and his clothes immediately became very dry. Xiao Chen smiled faintly and walked over to Chu Xinyun. 2 months ago, Xiao Chen had asked Chu Xinyun to look for the other ingredients for the beauty-halting pill. Jade Maiden Peak did not have many spirit herbs. Xiao Chen did not have much time, so he could only find someone to help. Coincidentally, Xiao Chen's blue dragon cloud soaring art had reached a small bottleneck. He needed to go out and exercise for a while, so he decided to refine the beauty halting pill. Chu Xinyan handed a spatial ring to Xiao Chen and said, "I have already found the 99 herbs and spirit flowers that you wanted. They are all in here. Check if there are any mistakes." Xiao Chen accepted the ring and checked it. When he did not find anything wrong, he said happily, "Many thanks, junior sister Chu. You have helped me a lot." Chu Xinyan smiled faintly and said with some envy, "If I am not wrong, you should be refining the youth halting pill. It can preserve your appearance for 1,000 years. Elder sister Ryue is really fortunate." Compared to men, women placed more importance on their appearance. They were afraid that time would be merciless and they would lose their youth. Being able to preserve one's appearance for 1,000 years was undoubtedly the dream of every woman. Naturally, Chu Xinyan was no exception. However, she knew that these 99 ingredients would cost a lot of spirit stones. Furthermore, it would not be easy to refine them. Wanting Xiao Chen to help her refine one was too much of an extravagant hope. "I will take my leave first. I will not disturb your cultivation any longer." Chu Xinyan stopped thinking about this matter and prepared to take her leave. Xiao Chen called out to stop her, "Wait a moment, this is the alchemic recipe for the youth halting pill. If you have time in the future, you can refine it yourself." Xiao Chen could tell what the other party was thinking. However, some of the ingredients were not suitable. In a few months, Xiao Chen would be leaving. He would not be able to help her refine another one, so he gave the alchemic recipe to her. Chu Xinyan looked at Xiao Chen in disbelief. The alchemic recipe for the youth halting pill was worth cities. It would not be an exaggeration to say that its price was astronomical. However, Xiao Chen actually gave it to her so casually. After handing the alchemic recipe to Chu Xinyan, Xiao Chen immediately returned to his residence and started to prepare to refine the youth halting pill. 99 kinds of herbs were arranged neatly on the wooden table. After counting them, Xiao Chen finally took out the blue dragon medicine cauldron. Looking at the blue dragon medicine cauldron with overwhelming spiritual energy, Xiao Chen became somewhat distracted. The image of that otherworldly girl who liked to dress up in men's clothes appeared in his mind. "I wonder how she is now. I will be leaving the Sky Dome realm soon. After I refine the youth halting pill, I should make a trip to the imperial capital." Xiao Chen collected his thoughts and muttered to himself. He still owed the other party a promise. If there was an opportunity, it would be best if he could repay it before leaving. Dong! 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 Just as Xiao Chen prepared to refine the pill, a series of knocks on the door made him stop what he was doing. Who could be knocking at this time? Before he came, Xiao Chen had instructed Lu Suifeng not to let anyone disturb him. Xiao Chen waved his long sleeves and put away the herbs on the table, as well as the blue dragon medicine cauldron. Then, he went to open the door. A fragrance wafted over, and a girl in a red dress stood at the door. She looked very pretty, capable of causing the downfall of nations. Xiao Chen was slightly stunned. Then, he smiled and asked, "What wind-blue princess you here?" The person who came was the very popular Princess Ingyu of the great Qin nation. Ingyu said softly, "Is it because you obtained the top rank of the True Dragon ranking that you dare to speak to me so rudely?" Xiao Chen smiled faintly and said, "How could I dare? One does not come here for no reason. Princess, just get straight to the point." Ingyu withdrew her smile and said sullenly, "Do you still remember the agreement you made with Feng Feishue?" Xiao Chen was stunned. He nodded and said, "Naturally, I remember. Back then, outside Mo City, she gave me the blue dragon cloud soaring art, and I made a promise to her." Ingyu said, "She is in trouble. She is currently under house arrest by her clansmen." Xiao Chen frowned and said, "House arrest? Why?" Most of the Feng clan's businesses were personally managed by Feng Feishue. Feng Feishue held great authority in the Feng clan. How could she be under house arrest for no reason? Yu organized her thoughts and said, "The Feng clan is the second-ranked merchant association in the world. Do you know that the first-ranked merchant association is the Wan Clan Merchant Association?" Xiao Chen indicated that he understood. Of the 5 great merchant associations, the Great Jin Nation's Wan Clan Merchant Association was the strongest. Xiao Chen had seen this before in Dragon Sealing City. Aside from ignorance of tea, all the businesses in Dragon Sealing City were managed by the Wan clan. Although Dragon Sealing City was only open for a month, the 1 million people qualified to go were the strongest cultivators in the entire continent. The Wan clan definitely did not lack spirit stones. Just this 1 month of business would be sufficient for the Wan clan to earn a large sum. Xiao Chen obtained some information about the Wan Clan Merchant Association from Kim Taeho. It was a very strong faction. The Wan clan had accumulated a lot of wealth. However, he had never heard of anyone extorting the Wan clan. It was impossible for the other party to do so without some accumulations and strength. Otherwise, such a fat sheep would have been eaten up by some strong sects and martial sages long ago. Yu continued, "For years ago, the Wan clan's young master fell in love with Feng Feishue at first sight. He got the Wan clan's elders to propose marriage to Feng Feishue. The Wan clan is much stronger than the Feng clan. If the Wan clan offended the Feng clan, it would be very difficult for the Feng clan Merchant Association to do business. Furthermore, many people in the upper echelon of the Feng clan wanted to use this opportunity to build connections with the Wan clan. Thus, this marriage was set. 4 years ago." Xiao Chen recalled some past events. The first time he met Feng Feishue in Mo City seemed to have been 4 years ago. Could it be that back then, Feng Feishue came to Mo City because of this? Did she anticipate this day? Xiao Chen remained silent for a long time before saying, "Princess Yu, what is the relationship between the Xiao clan and the Feng clan in Mo City?" Given the relationship between Yu and Feng Feishue, as well as the intelligence network of the Great Qin Nation's royal court, it was impossible for Yu not to know about this. Xiao Chen could not help but ask about the doubts that he had been hiding in his heart. Yu revealed a stunned expression. She asked in surprise, "Did your father not tell you?" Xiao Chen shook his head, indicating that he did not. Yu muttered, "Even so, I cannot tell you. I only ask you if you will fulfill your promise and bear this responsibility, preventing this marriage." Bearing this responsibility would mean becoming enemies with the strongest merchant association in the continent. Although Xiao Chen was strong now, it would be like striking a rock with an egg when facing a superpower. Xiao Chen did not think for too long. He said calmly, "Since she has spoken, I will naturally do my best." Yu smiled gently, "Feng Feishue did not misjudge you. Just because of these words of yours, it was worth it for her to bear it for 4 years. I need to make some preparations before I can follow you to the imperial capital." Yu nodded, "In that case, I will wait for you in Saber City. Feng Feishue's father will be there as well. The main thing is that the old man of the Feng clan just passed away. Her father is not able to hold on much longer. Otherwise, he would be able to drag things out for a while longer." "I understand." After Feng Feishue left, Xiao Chen went to the small tree in the courtyard and sat down. Then, he took out 2 medallions from the universe ring and fiddled with them slowly. He revealed a pensive expression. Of the 2 medallions, one was the minor Haotian medallion of the Haotian sect, and the other was the heavenly fiend medallion of the Myriad Fiend Palace. Either medallion could help Xiao Chen ask for a favor from a martial sage at a crucial moment. The favor from 2 martial sages was also the reason why Xiao Chen did not fear the other superpowers when he traveled the world. Martial sages stood at the top of the pyramid of power in the continent. They were not people that any sect could afford to offend. However, it is probably impossible to get them to help me deal with the Wan clan. However, they should be able to keep me alive. The 2 medallions floated quietly in front of Xiao Chen. Finally, Xiao Chen made up his mind. Xiao Chen put away the Haotian medallion and grasped the heavenly fiend medallion tightly with his right hand. "I should keep the minor Haotian medallion for when I go to the Kunlun realm." In the end, the Wan clan is just a merchant association. One martial sage is sufficient to keep me alive. Shao Chen pushed off the ground and stood on a blue dragon image. He moved up and down in the air, moving at a speed that far surpassed that of a martial monarch of the same cultivation realm, heading for the ancient desolate land. 10 days later, Shao Chen arrived at the Myriad Fiend Palace at the bottom of the Heavenly Extermination Lake. After he presented the Heavenly Fiend Medallion, he was received by Bai's father and Zixuan. After Shao Chen stated his purpose for coming, and Zixuan received the Heavenly Fiend Medallion and smiled faintly. "I thought that you would never be able to use this Heavenly Fiend Medallion." Shao Chen asked somewhat uncertainly, "Senior, will you approve of my request?" And Zixuan put away the medallion and said softly, "Although the Wan clan is strong, they are still businessmen in the end. I can still protect your life. However, I also have something that I need your help with." Shao Chen performed a cupped fist salute and said, "Speak your mind. This junior will do his best to do it." Chapter 626. And Zixuan smiled and said, "Bai, Jiang Zimo, and Mu Xinya have already taken the Kunlun realm. If you go to the Kunlun realm, if you have the opportunity, please take care of them." Shao Chen said in surprise, "I remember that the 3 of them did not make it into the top 20. They did not meet the requirements of the Bushin Palace." And Zixuan did not explain further. He said, "The Bushin Palace is only the Bushin Palace of you humans. It is not the Bushin Palace of our fiend race." Shao Chen understood a little. He said, "Definitely. The 3 of them are my friends. Even if Senior did not say so, I would have done so." After leaving the Myriad Fiend Palace, Shao Chen heaved a sigh of relief. After thinking for a while, he headed for the headquarters of the Great Tang Nation's Golden Rock Merchant Association. Shao Chen did not understand the strength of the Myriad Clan Merchant Association. He needed to find someone he could trust to understand the other party's strength. Of all the people that Shao Chen knew, only Kim Tae-ho understood the Myriad Clan Merchant Association the best. Shao Chen stood on an azure dragon in the air, flying continuously towards the Great Tang Nation's capital, traveling at his fastest speed. Shao Chen's blue dragon cloud soaring art showed signs of making a breakthrough. This was a pleasant surprise. 10 days later, Shao Chen arrived at the Great Tang Nation's capital. However, Kim Tae-ho's whereabouts were unknown. Shao Chen did not see Shao Chen immediately. He only found Shao Chen on the 3rd day after he spread the news. Shao Chen did not like to speak nonsense. He got right to the point and told Shao Chen why he was here. After Fatso heard that, his eyes narrowed. He laughed loudly and said, "To think that this little girl would have such a day. Damn it, she usually snatched away a lot of business from this fat lord." Seeing Shao Chen's unfriendly expression, Kim Tae-ho quickly said, "I was too excited and could not control my emotions. Brother Shao Chen, don't blame me. I will tell you about the strength of the Wan Merchant Association." Kim Tae-ho took a sip of wine and said, "Now that you have advanced to Martial Monarch, the Martial King experts of the Wan clan are not worthy of your attention. I will not talk about this. I will focus on the Martial Monarch experts that the Merchant Association hired." The Wan Clan Merchant Association had a total of 18 large branches in the Tianwu continent. Each branch had 2 Martial Monarch experts. Their cultivations ranged from peak inferior grade Martial Monarch to medial grade Martial Monarch. After all, the Wan Clan's Merchant Association was rich in resources. It would be difficult to find an early-stage inferior-grade Martial Monarch. Just the branches already had 36 Martial Monarchs. They were several times stronger than the Heavenly Saber Pavilion. When Shao Chen heard Fatso's explanation, he was slightly astonished. The peak combat power of the Tianwu continent was the Martial Sage, but there were very few Martial Sages. There were hundreds of millions of people in the Sky Dome realm. The Boundless Sea, the ancient desolate land, and the Tianwu continent had more than 100 Martial Sages. Compared to the vast Sky Dome realm, there were very few Martial Sages. Furthermore, Martial Sages were busy comprehending the heavenly Tao. Very few of them would bother with mundane matters. When it came to disputes between ordinary people, martial monarchs were already the peak. To most people, martial sages were legends. Most people only heard of martial sages and rarely saw one. In their hearts, martial monarchs were already peak experts. However, although the 36 martial monarchs were strong, Shaochen did not care too much about them. As long as they were not superior-grade martial monarchs, it would be fine. Kim Tae-ho continued, "These are just the strength of the branches. The truly strong ones are the Wan clan's headquarters. The headquarters has what they call the 8 great guardian deities, superior-grade martial monarchs. The 8 great guardian deities are the nicknames of 8 superior-grade martial monarchs. They are very famous and extremely strong. Once, there was a peak martial monarch bandit who wanted to rob the Wan clan's headquarters. When the 8 great guardian deities worked together, they destroyed the bandit within 100 moves. The 8 great guardian deities. Shao Qin made a mental note of them. Then, he looked at the other party and said, "They should not be so weak. Otherwise, your Jin clan would not be suppressed by the Wan clan." Kim Tae-ho took a big gulp of wine and said, "That's right. Rumor has it that the Wan clan has a martial sage as well. That is their greatest trump card." After hearing Kim Tae-ho's explanation, Shaochen gained a better understanding of the Wan clan's merchant association. Everyone only knew about the 8 noble clans and the 10 great sections. Unexpectedly, the great Jin nation had a merchant association that was comparable to a noble clan. In terms of overall strength, many of the noble clans could not compare to the Wan clan's merchant association. 36 martial monarchs, the 8 great guardian deities, the martial sages at the top of the pyramid. The Wan clan's accumulations were truly horrifying. Seeing that Shao Chen was about to leave, Fatso hesitated for a while before telling him about Wan Feng's matter. He said, "Little brother Shao Chen, the welcoming envoy this time seems to be related to the Wan clan. You'd best be mentally prepared." Shao Chen paused for a moment, but he could only shake his head and smile bitterly. One martial sage was already enough of a headache for him. Unexpectedly, there was another welcoming envoy now. However, since Shao Chen had already made a promise, there was no longer any chance to go back on it. Even if there was a mountain of daggers or a sea of flames, a dragon's lair or a tiger's den, he had to continue forward. Kim Tae-ho watched as Shao Chen left. He squinted slightly and revealed a contemplative expression on his chubby face. He muttered to himself, "The Wan clan is not that easy to deal with. Just Shao Chen alone will not be enough." After a long time, Kim Tae-ho seemed to have made a decision. He said to the manservant beside him, "Gather all the martial monarchs that the Golden Rock Merchant Association can use in the shortest time possible. Also, invite the Heavenly Craft Manor's Miss Sue over. Damn it, this fat lord will make a bet as well." Roar! Roar! As the blue dragon roared, Shao Chen soared into the air. He stood on the blue dragon image and rushed back to the Heavenly Saber Pavilion without stopping. Ancient desolate land, Great Tang Nation's capital. Traveling back and forth took close to a month. Shao Chen did not wanting you to take too long. Shao Chen flew quickly in the air. 10,000 meters in the air, cultivators with good eyesight could see a blue dragon moving up and down in the clouds. It was like a rainbow piercing through the sun, scattering the clouds in front of it. The white-robed Shao Chen stood on the dragon's head, facing the wind. No expression could be seen on his delicate face. Chi! Suddenly, Shao Chen felt that the blue dragon cloud soaring art was about to break through from small perfection to great perfection. This feeling was very miraculous. There was no need for him to circulate the energy of the blue dragon cloud soaring art. His quintessence was like water, slowly flowing through his meridians. Some of the smaller meridians that he would not normally pass through also flowed through. Shao Chen could clearly feel the azure dragon image under his feet roaring with all its might. Its speed increased explosively, tearing small tears in space. Roar! A resonant dragon roar resounded. The blue dragon cloud soaring art had finally reached great perfection. The quintessence, which had completed a small cycle, returned to his dantian and started to circulate according to the Great Perfection Meridian diagram. Xiao! Xiao! Aside from the blue dragon image below Xiao Chen, 2 more blue dragon images appeared beside Xiao Chen. His speed was more than twice as fast as before, reaching Mach 8. Xiao Chen had not been able to break through his bottleneck after 2 months of closed-door cultivation. He had not expected that he would break through so naturally while flying at his limit. This astonished Xiao Chen. However, without those 2 months of bitter cultivation, accumulating a large amount of experience, he would not be able to make such a breakthrough. In the end, it was just a matter of time. Blue Dragon Tail Whip. Xiao Chen revealed a joyful expression as he executed the Blue Dragon Tail Whip. In that instant, 3 blue dragon images moved at the same time. As the dragon tails swung, they struck Xiao Chen heavily. Hu Qi! In that instant, a resplendent azure light streaked across the sky. Everywhere the azure light passed, Xiao Chen moved 10 kilometers in one breath. When Xiao Chen looked back, there was another Xiao Chen standing in the air 10 kilometers behind him. That was an afterimage he left behind because he was moving too fast. After 3 breaths of time, the afterimage slowly faded until it disappeared. Xiao Chen smiled gently and said, "In an instant, I moved 10 kilometers to face a martial sage. I finally have a chance to leave." However, the Great Perfection Blue Dragon Cloud Soaring Art exhausts too much quintessence. Normally, I only need 1 blue dragon to assist me in battle. After Xiao Chen returned to the Heavenly Saber Pavilion, he headed straight for the courtyard where Ling Tianyun was. When he found Ling Tianyun, Xiao Chen bowed respectfully and told him why he was here. "Senior, can you lend this junior the divine weapon?" If an ordinary person said this to Ling Tianyun, he would have slapped the person away. How could a divine weapon be lent so easily? However, the one who spoke was Xiao Chen. Ling Tianyun could not help but enter deep thought. After a long time, he slowly said, "I can sense a holy seal in your mind. Since Lu Tianyu promised you this opportunity, I will not reject it." "Who?" Ling Tianyun casually waved his hand, and the wooden box containing the divine weapon flew out. Xiao Chen stretched out his hand and caught the wooden box. He said softly, "Many thanks, senior." With the divine weapon, Xiao Chen felt more confident on this trip. However, he still hoped that he did not have to use it. He just needed to deter the other party. Finally, Xiao Chen took out the superior grade inner vest that the Haotian sect had given him from the universe ring. This was a defensive superior grade secret treasure. It could increase his defense by 20%. The favor from the Heavenly Fiend Palaces in Zishuan, the information from Kim Tae-ho, the defensive superior grade secret treasure, and the divine weapon Heavenly Universe, everything was ready. Xiao Chen covered the wooden box containing the divine weapon with a black cloth and carried it on his back. Then, he took a deep breath and headed for Saber City. In an inn in Saber City, the Feng clan's clan head, Feng Tianming, and Ning Yu had already been waiting for Xiao Chen for more than a month. At this moment, the two of them sat down at a tea table. There was an ancient tea set on the table. An incense burner sat in the upper right corner of the table. Smoke wafted out, refreshing the mind. Feng Tianming wore luxurious clothes and withdrew his aura. He took a sip of tea and said, "Princess Yu, we have already waited for so long. Could it be that Xiao Chen is not coming?" Feng Tianming could not help but feel suspicious. Right now, Xiao Chen had a great future ahead of him. He stood at the top of the younger generation and was a king-grade true dragon genius. After he entered the Kunlun realm, he would be able to advance to martial sage at the very least. If Xiao Chen's luck was good, he might become a second Thunder King if he was not careful. Xiao Chen did not want to offend the Strong Wan clan over something he said 4 years ago, seeking trouble for himself. After all, he had not truly matured yet. Yu put down the teacup in her hand and revealed a faint smile on her pretty face. She said, "Don't worry. I understand him. Feishu understands him as well. Otherwise, she would not have endured for 4 years for him." Chapter 627. Feng Tianming sighed and revealed a helpless expression. He muttered, "If only I could be like great-grandfather and become a martial sage, Shuer would not have to suffer like this. You don't have to look for Xiao Qin at this time. Our Feng family owes him too much." From the bottom of his heart, Feng Tianming did not want to trouble Xiao Qin. However, the old man had passed away. The huge Feng clan was no longer something that he could control alone. Many people who were eyeing the position of clan head started to use Feng Feishue's marriage as an excuse to attack him. If Xiao Qin wanted to get those people to shut up and not let Feng Feishue suffer, he could only get Xiao Qin to make an appearance. There was no other way. Yu said softly, "It's fine. Even if Xiao Qin knows why your cousin left the Xiao clan back then, he will not go back on his promise. He is a man of his word. Xiao Qin is such a person. He doesn't make promises, but once he does, he will do his best to fulfill them." Dong dong dong. As the two conversed, someone knocked on the door. Feng Tianming went to open the door and discovered the waiter. "Dear guests, there is a white-robed bladesman downstairs. He says he wants to see you." Yu and Feng Tianming exchanged glances and revealed expressions of joy. Xiao Qin finally arrived. It would not be difficult for Xiao Qin to find out where Yu and Feng Tianming were in Saber City. The city lord's residents would definitely know the whereabouts of such important people. Xiao Qin followed the waiter and carried the black, squarish wooden box on his back. Soon, he arrived at Yu's booth. "I'm sorry. I've prepared too much and made the two of you wait." Xiao Qin cupped his hands and apologized. When Feng Tianming felt the dense quintessence aura from Xiao Qin's body, a look of astonishment flashed in his eyes. There was also a complicated feeling in his heart. Yu stood up and said, "It's fine. Let's go now. This is the Feng clan's clan head, Feng Tianming. He is also Feng Feishue's father." Feng Tianming recovered his wits and said seriously, "Many thanks for your help. Right now, it is very urgent. We can talk about some things on the way. Let's fly back to the imperial capital first." Above the 9 heavens, a huge golden bird stretched out its huge wings, which had a wingspan of over 300 zhang. It soared through the clouds at 6 times the speed of sound, breaking through the sky. 8 people stood on the back of the bird. Aside from Xiao Qin's group of 3, there were 5 of Feng Tianming's bodyguards. These bodyguards were all peak inferior grade martial monarchs. Together, they were a strong force. Feng Tianming explained the situation to Xiao Qin. The martial sage of the Feng clan had passed away, and Feng Tianming's elder brothers had fought for the position of clan head. Using Feng Tianming's rejection of the marriage alliance with the Wan clan as an excuse, they worked together to make things difficult for him, forcing him to fulfill his original promise, allowing the Wan clan's young master to marry Feng Feishue as soon as possible. Feng Tianming respected Feng Feishue's opinion and did not agree. This caused the group of people to reach a stalemate. Furthermore, for some reason, the Wan clan's attitude had become abnormally unyielding. With the secret support of the Wan clan, those people placed Feng Feishue under house arrest, not allowing her to go out. After Xiao Qin heard everything, he entered deep thought. Then, he said, "You mean that if I go over, they will not dare to force Feng Feishue to marry Feng Feishue?" Feng Tianming remained silent for a while before replying, "That is indeed the case. For hundreds and thousands of years, the Xiao clan and the Feng clan had always been connected by marriage. This was the ancestral teachings, which only ended during your parents' generation. Because the Blue Dragon martial spirit disappeared and the Xiao clan declined, the Feng clan ended the ancestral teachings. Now, you possess the Blue Dragon martial spirit and are the top ranker of the True Dragon ranking. If you say that you want to marry Feng Feishue, that group of people will not dare to say anything." After saying this, Feng Tianming carefully observed Xiao Qin's expression. After all, his cousin, Xiao Qin's birth mother, had been Feng Feishue's cousin. Because she had looked down on Xiao Qin's father's cultivation and the marriage was arranged by the elders, she had no feelings for him. After giving birth to Xiao Chen, she had left the Xiao clan. To Xiao Chen's father, this was a great humiliation. He was afraid that this matter would upset Xiao Chen. Xiao Chen's expression did not change. However, great waves surged in his mind. No wonder when Feng Feishue came to the Xiao clan, his father did not even want to see her. No wonder his father was unwilling to seek help from the Feng clan during the Xiao clan's most critical moment. It turned out that he had suffered such humiliation in the past. For the sake of getting rid of him, a woman had even abandoned the son she had just given birth to. This was a huge blow to a man's pride. Xiao Chen calmed himself and said, "Let's talk when we get there. The matters of my father's generation have nothing to do with me. It will not affect my decision." When Feng Tianming heard this, he heaved a sigh of relief and did not say anything more. 5 days later, after passing through countless cities, the group finally arrived at the bustling imperial capital. Then, they landed in front of the huge Feng clan residence. "Greetings, clan head." "Greetings, clan head." The 2 rows of guards in front of the residence bowed respectfully and greeted Feng Tianming. The doors to the residence opened, and a person who looked like a housekeeper came out. Feng Tianming quickly led the group into the residence. The Feng clan residence occupied a large area. As the group passed through several gardens and corridors, they met countless servants along the way. Several people paid attention to Xiao Chen, whispering to each other. They wondered if he was the genius king-grade white-robed bladesman on the True Dragon ranking. "Uncle Fu, call my big brother and the others to the Great Hall. I have something to say to him," Feng Tianming said to the old man who looked like a housekeeper. "There is no need to look for him. I am already here." Just at this moment, a middle-aged man with an overbearing aura led a large group of people around a bend in the road in front of Feng Tianming and the others. This was Feng Tianming's big brother, Feng Tianhua. He had a sinister smile on his face and a sword hung at his waist. His gaze was cold, like a venomous snake in the dark night. Feng Tianming ignored the other party's attitude. He raised his hand and said, "You came at the right time. I have something to discuss with you." Feng Tianhua chuckled and said, "I happen to have something to discuss with you as well." "Tianming, you came at the right time." Feng Tianming frowned slightly. He did not know what the other party was planning. He said, "Come with me to the Great Hall first. Later, I will gather all the elders of the clan. You can speak then." "Ha ha. There is no need for you to gather the elders." Feng Tianhua smiled sinisterly. 3 days ago, niece Feishue and her aunt were brought to the Great Jin nation by the Wan clan. 7 days later, the Wan clan will hold a wedding ceremony. At that time, all the famous people of the continent will attend the wedding. The moment Feng Tianhua said this, Xiao Chen and the others were stunned. Feng Tianming shouted angrily, "Feng Tianhua, who is the clan head? Do you want me to beat you up and send you to the clan's disciplinary hall? Beat me up and send me to the disciplinary hall?" Feng Tianhua smiled coldly and retorted, "What qualifications do you have to beat me up and send me to the disciplinary hall? Do you know the relationship between the welcoming envoy of the Upper Realm and the Wan clan? How foolish! The Feng clan nearly died because of you. Do you know that? The welcoming envoy is the grandson of that major character of the Wan clan. 3 days ago, it was that welcoming envoy who personally brought niece Feishue away." Feng Tianhua spat out these 3 sentences at an extremely fast speed, causing the atmosphere in the air to freeze. Feng Tianming's expression could not help but change. He had not expected things to become so troublesome. He muttered, "There were rumors long ago that the Wan clan's martial sage spent a lot of effort to send his grandson to the Upper Realm through Dragon Sealing City 10 years ago. Unexpectedly, the other party managed to make a name for himself. For Wan Feng to be able to become the welcoming envoy of the Bushan Palace, his strength in the Kunlun realm was definitely not to be underestimated. His connections were also very extensive. With this trip, the Wan clan had probably established a connection with the Upper Realm. In the next 1,000 years, the Wan clan's position in the Tianwu continent would be even more unshakable. Feng Tianhua smiled coldly as he shouted, "Now, do you know who the true sinner of the Feng clan is? A marriage alliance with the Wan clan will only bring benefits to our Feng clan. Unexpectedly, you keep making excuses. You are simply trying to push the Feng clan into a dead end. You only care about your own personal interests. What qualifications do you have to be the Feng clan's clan head? The Feng clan's vast business concerns the interests of tens of thousands of people. What face do you have to cling to the position of clan head?" With the support of the Wan clan, Feng Tianhua did not care about Feng Tianming at all. Using the resources that the Wan clan provided, he managed to bribe several of the upper echelon of the clan. Right now, Feng Tianhua wanted to take advantage of the situation to remove Feng Tianming from the position of clan head and become the clan head himself, fulfilling his dream of several decades. Feng Tianhua took another heavy step forward and pointed at Feng Tianming's nose. He said, 30 years ago, when the old man chose you to be the clan head, I was already unconvinced. Look at the current Feng clan. It is nearly suppressed by the great Tang nation's Jin clan. What capabilities do you have to be the clan head?" Chapter 628. There were many people behind Feng Tianhua, all of whom were his supporters. They also stepped forward and pointed out Feng Tianming's faults. The other party's aura surged, suppressing the enraged Feng Tianming in an instant. Then, the other party pressed on. Feng Tianming's heart burned with rage. Not only had Feng Tianhua sold his daughter, but he had also turned around and accused him of all sorts of wrongdoings, wanting to remove him from the position of clan head. It was simply unreasonable. However, his brothers of the same generation were all standing on the other party's side at this moment, making it impossible for him to defend himself. He couldn't even come up with an argument. "Feng Tianming, I'll give you some face. Step down from the clan head position now. Otherwise, we will hold a general assembly of elders to publicly accuse you of your crimes. Not only will you lose the clan head position, but you will also be sent back to the disciplinary hall." Feng Tianhua revealed a sinister smile. He appeared very confident. The clan head position was already in his bag, no one could change that. "Elder brother Tianming, since ancient times, the clan head position has always belonged to the capable. Since you are incapable, you should step down. In any case, even if we hold a general assembly of elders, we will still vote for big brother Tianming. Whether you step down or not, the result will be the same. Step down as soon as possible. If you are incapable, then stop clinging onto the position." The people behind Feng Tianhua all spoke up, putting a lot of pressure on Feng Tianming. Feng Tianhua's lips curled up in a cold smile as he looked at Feng Tianming, quietly waiting for his answer. How boring! Xiao Chen was no longer interested in listening to such an argument. He did not know what Feng Tianming was hesitating about. The other party clearly wanted him dead, so what was the point of being so wishy-washy? Feng Feishue had already been taken away. Right now, the most important thing was to rush to the great Jin nation and bring her back. Xiao Chen did not have time to waste on this bunch of unscrupulous people. He was a man, he should be decisive. Roar! A dragon roar came from his body. Xiao Chen remained expressionless. He could not be bothered to waste his breath on Feng Tianming. Suddenly, he executed Berserk Dragon and charged at Feng Tianming. The dragon roared, and the image of a blue dragon appeared under Xiao Chen's feet. As it moved up and down, it carried an intense wind with it. The tyrannical dragon head surged forward. This punch was incredibly powerful, and it came without any warning at all. Feng Tianhua, who was still waiting for an answer, was given a fright. He had never expected that someone would attack him in public at this time, and in such a ruthless manner. Caught off guard, he didn't even have the chance to draw his sword. Taking a step back, Zhang Xian punched out with his right fist. Jin Yuan surged in his body, intending to block the punch. Bang! The two fists collided, and a berserk chi exploded, forming a terrifying shockwave that forced some of the people in the surroundings to retreat. Cracks appeared on the sturdy stone pillars on both sides of the corridor, as if they would collapse at any moment. Feng Tianhua felt a sweet taste in his throat and blood immediately flowed out from the corner of his mouth. His opponent's chi had actually directly shattered his true essence and injured his internal organs. Who are you? How dare you behave atrociously in the Feng clan? Are you tired of living? Feng Tianhua shouted angrily. Xiao Chen did not bother speaking nonsense with Feng Tianhua. The other party was a medial-grade martial monarch. Xiao Chen needed to take advantage of the momentum of this punch to take him down. Otherwise, if Feng Tianhua recovered his wits and stabilized himself, he would be in big trouble. The blue dragon image under Xiao Chen's feet roared ferociously. As it moved up and down, Xiao Chen arrived before Feng Tianming in the blink of an eye. Then, he circulated all his vital qi. Even without infusing his quintessence, Xiao Chen's punch and claw contained 500 tons of force. His attacks were incredibly fast, and the circulation of his vital qi was faster than his quintessence. Bang! 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 Feng Tianhua only had time to circulate half of his quintessence to deal with Xiao Chen's attacks. Then, Xiao Chen forced him to retreat. A strong wind blew, and wounds of various sizes covered his body. Damn it! Scram! Forced into such a sorry state by a junior before everyone, Feng Tianhua finally flared up. His quintessence burned on the surface of his body. Tianhua was forced to burn his quintessence. The people who had retreated from the winding corridor were astonished as well. Feng Tianhua had been a medial-grade martial monarch for a long time already. Unexpectedly, he was forced to burn his quintessence so quickly. What was even more shocking was that when Feng Tianhua, who had burned his quintessence, punched at Xiao Chen, he did not manage to knock Xiao Chen back. Facing Feng Tianhua, who had burned his quintessence, Xiao Chen was not surprised. He had expected this. He merged his vital qi and quintessence, and his attacks did not stop. The surging shockwaves exploded with a loud rumble, causing the air to reflect blurry traces. Feng Tianhua took 10 steps back, but Xiao Chen only took 8 steps back. Boom! The winding corridor could no longer endure the shockwaves of the two's attacks. With a loud bang, it collapsed, turning into rubble. Bang! 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 The two exerted their strength at the same time, blasting the falling rocks into powder and scattering them with the wind. When Feng Tianhua saw that he could not gain the upper hand even after burning his quintessence, his expression turned terrifyingly sullen. Then, he placed his right hand on the sword at his waist. Elder brother Tianhua is going to draw his sword. That brat is finished for sure. That's right. Elder brother Tianhua's sword intent has reached 40% comprehension long ago. When he draws his sword, he will be able to defeat this person in 10 moves. This brat has to die. Even with Feng Tianming protecting him, it will not work. Feng Tianhua's cousins spoke in a few words. Clearly, they were frustrated with the sudden appearance of Xiao Chen. Xiao! Xiao Chen drew his sword, and a surging sword intent spread out. The entire sword trembled continuously. In that instant, all the swordsmen felt their swords tremble uncontrollably. Feng Tianhua leaped up, and his gaze turned sinister. He focused his quintessence on his sword, combining it with his 60% comprehended sword intent to form a sharp sword light. The group of people all revealed joyful expressions. After defeating this brat, Feng Tianming would have another crime to bear. Chong! Chong! However, before these people could withdraw their smiles, the lunar shadow saber at Xiao Chen's waist had already been drawn. The 60% comprehended saber intent, combined with the quintessence in his body, formed a dazzling purple saber light. Ka Xie. When the saber light and the sword light clashed, there was no chance at all. The sword light was like a piece of wood, breaking in half. When the light faded, only half of Feng Tianhua's sword remained. The other half shattered in the air, turning into a rain of swords that shot out in all directions, creating tiny cracks in space. When Xiao Chen swung his saber, he chopped the other party's sword in half, defeating his opponent miserably. Such strength not only rendered Feng Tianhua's group speechless, but it also shocked Feng Tianming to the point of gaping. This sword had followed Feng Tianhua for several decades. His mind was already connected to it. After the sword broke, he immediately vomited a large mouthful of blood. Feng Tianhua revealed an expression of disbelief on his pale face. He asked sullenly, "Who exactly are you? You are already about to die. Why ask so many questions?" Xiao Chen stomped on the ground and sent out a barrage of saber lights. Feng Tianhua, who did not have a weapon in hand, was reduced to a sorry state. Xiao Chen's saber intent enveloped Feng Tianhua's body. Based on his stance, he intended to kill Feng Tianhua, not even giving him a chance to flee. The expressions of Feng Tianhua's group immediately changed. They all soared into the air and charged at Xiao Chen, trying to save Feng Tianhua. However, these people were only half-step martial monarchs. After all, martial monarchs were not cabbages that could be found anywhere. The essence attacks could not break Xiao Chen's quintessence shield. There was no need to worry about them. All he needed to do was dodge some of the killing moves. After severely injuring Feng Tianhua with one saber strike, Xiao Chen turned his attention to the other minor characters. He executed the Thunder Shadow Chop, and afterimages flickered. Xiao Chen instantly sent out 7 saber strikes, knocking down the people who had been harassing him. All of them had pained expressions on their faces. Feng Tianhua and his group of people, who had come with surging auras, had all been defeated at Xiao Chen's hands. At this moment, they no longer had their earlier grandeur. No one dared to say anything. Inu watched as Xiao Chen sheathed his saber. A look of admiration flashed in her beautiful eyes. She said softly, "Mr. Feng, are you still unable to make up your mind? They have the Wan clan as their backer. You have the great Qin nation's royal court as well. The royal court will not sit idly by and watch as the Wan clan swallows up the Feng clan's businesses." Feng Tianming's heart turned cold. He knew that there was no room for negotiation. He instructed the 5 people behind him, "These people colluded with outsiders and are up to no good. Leave none alive. Kill them all." Xiao Chen ignored the 5 people who killed Feng Tianming. He walked straight to Feng Tianming and said, "Prepare the best warship. We should be able to rush back in 7 days." Feng Tianming shook his head and said, "A regular warship will not be able to reach the great Jin nation in 7 days. That Wan Feng will definitely be using the Bushan Palace's warship." Inu said, "Use our Imperial Dragon Legion's flagship, the Imperial Dragon. Although it cannot compare to the Bushan Palace's warship, if we plan the route well, we should be able to rush back in 5 days." Feng Tianming's eyes lit up. He quickly said, "Many thanks, Princess Yu." Inu smiled gently and said, "I cannot leave the great Qin nation. I will not be able to accompany you this time. I will lead people to support you at the border." On the surface, the great Qin nation's royal court could not afford to offend the Wan clan. Xiao Chen and Feng Tianming both understood this. Inu being able to send the Imperial Dragon Legion's flagship was already a great help. After Feng Tianming used his lightning-fast methods, the chaotic situation finally stabilized. As for the Elders' Assembly, Feng Tianming was no longer in the mood to convene it. Inside the Great Hall, Feng Tianming held a map as he discussed the route of travel with his 5 bodyguards. There was no way to travel in a straight line in the sky. For example, there would be many horrifying high-ranked flying spirit beasts blocking the way. In some places, there would be spatial storms. Anything that entered would be shredded to pieces. There were also places controlled by ancient clans. Without permission, one could not pass. Going by a regular trade route, even with the Imperial Dragon, it would take 7 days to travel from the imperial capital to the great Jin nation's Wan clan's headquarters. Hence, Xiao Chen had to choose a place that he normally avoided and forcefully break through to save time. Xiao Chen placed the wooden box wrapped in black cloth on his back on the table. Then, he sat at the side and closed his eyes to rest. After the time it takes for an incense stick to burn, Xiao Chen, we have already chosen the route. We intend to directly break through the Black Smoke Mountain range. That way, we can save 2 days. Chapter 629. Feng Tianming walked over and said to Xiao Chen. After seeing Xiao Chen's strength, Feng Tianming could no longer ignore his strength. So he came over to seek his opinion. Xiao Chen knew a little about the Black Smoke Mountain range. A rank 7 flying spirit beast, the Black Smoke Condor, rested at the highest peak of the mountain range. They were not high in rank, but there were many of them. Each time they moved, there would be at least 10,000 of them. Regular merchant groups would circle around the vast Black Smoke Mountain range, taking a long journey. Although it was time-consuming, it was safe. There are 3 places we can break in. We feel that the Black Smoke Condor is the easiest. The other 2 places are much more troublesome. Then, Feng Tianming explained the situation of the other 2 places to Xiao Chen. Xiao Chen felt that there was nothing wrong, so he agreed to make his breakthrough in the Black Smoke Mountain range. Feng Tianming glanced at the wooden box wrapped in black cloth. He felt somewhat curious, but he did not ask anything. An hour later, the enormous golden warship, Imperial Dragon, flew over. The few of them didn't waste any time and directly walked up to the bow. When the Imperial Dragon flew at full speed, it could reach Mach 7, much faster than a regular martial monarch. Furthermore, it did not need to stop to rest. It was perfect for traveling. Around the hull of the ship, there was a faint layer of protective shield, blocking the air outside. Feng Tianming stood on the warship's bow with an extremely grave expression. The Wan clan had a martial sage. If the other party was not willing to hand over Feng Feishue, they would be at their wits' end. Feng Feishue had not gone willingly. Without Feng Tianming and the others' help, Wan Feng would not have been able to bring her away. If Feng Tianming had killed this person earlier, things would not have been as difficult as they were now. Feng Tianming blamed himself. Xiao Chen, what cultivation realm has your combat prowess reached? Now that things had reached this point, there was no point in overthinking it. Feng Tianming collected his thoughts and started chatting with Xiao Chen. Xiao Chen was only an inferior-grade martial monarch. However, he had beaten the medial-grade martial monarch, Feng Tianhua, to the point where he could not retaliate. Feng Tianming wanted to know Xiao Chen's true strength. Based on the standards of the Sky Dome realm, a regular superior-grade martial monarch would not be a match for me. As for the Kunlun realm's martial monarchs, I cannot say much about them, Xiao Chen said directly, not hiding anything. Feng Tianming felt startled in his heart. Despite such shocking strength, Xiao Chen spoke of it so casually. However, the other party no longer used the standards of the Sky Dome realm to measure him. Such a mentality was understandable. The spiritual energy in the Kunlun realm was several times denser than in the lower realms. Although they were both inferior-grade martial monarchs, the Kunlun realm's martial monarchs had much more essence than the lower realm martial monarchs. There was even a rumor that the bottlenecks of cultivators in the Kunlun realm were even harder to break through than in the lower realms. However, once one succeeded in breaking through, the benefits of the body were not something that the lower realms could compare to. There were many more high-ranked cultivation techniques in the Kunlun realm than in the Sky Dome realm. The quality of martial monarchs was not something the lower realms could compare to. Along the way, the two did not run into any trouble. Soon, the Black Smoke Mountain range appeared before their eyes. A long stretch of pitch-black clouds lingered in the sky above the many peaks. After the Imperial Dragon appeared, the dark clouds quickly drifted over. One would only notice them when they got close. The so-called dark clouds were actually formed from numerous black smoke eagles, and they covered the sky and blotted out the sun. Merely this impetus caused one's heart to palpitate without end. Feng Tianming said somewhat anxiously, the energy barrier will not be able to block all the black smoke condors. The beaks of those black smoke condors are extremely sharp, they can easily pierce through any metal. You and I need to kill all the black smoke condors that barge in quickly. Otherwise, the ship will be pecked through, and we will be forced to land. The situation was dire. Xiao Chen understood that the other party was not lying. He placed his right hand on his saber hilt and waited quietly for the black smoke condors to attack. There were no royal clan members on the Imperial Dragon. Feng Tianming's 5 personal guards controlled the warship. They could only rely on Xiao Chen and Feng Tianming to defend it. Bang! 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 Black shadows covered the sky and covered the earth as they attacked. Everywhere they looked, they were all sturdy black smoke condors, their bodies emitting thick black gas. The black smoke condors' beaks were like iron hooks and their claws were even harder than frost iron. They continuously struck the Imperial Dragon's energy barrier. At this moment, the huge warship seemed as small as an ant. It swayed left and right, rocking continuously. Xiao Chen stood on the deck and closed his eyes, not moving at all. He only used his spiritual sense to scan every corner of the warship, not missing a single spot. Feng Tianming's expression turned even graver. If not for the fact that he was in a rush for 2 days, he would not have taken this risk. Caw! There was a crisp sound, and a small crack appeared in the energy barrier. Soon, a hole appeared, and a black smoke condor let out a shrill cry as it entered. Xiao! However, before the black smoke condor could move, a saber light flashed, and the huge black smoke condor was chopped in half. When Feng Tianming saw Xiao Chen kill a black smoke condor at lightning speed, he calmed down. He leaped up and arrived before the hole. Then, he placed his hands on the energy barrier. Xiao Chen's quintessence flowed out from his hands and quickly mended the hole. The warship's defensive formation provided the energy barrier. As long as the formation did not break, it could be mended in an instant. This was why Feng Tianming dared to choose this place as his breakthrough point. Caw! 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 A few more holes appeared, and 10-odd black smoke condors flew over from all directions. Their ferocious auras spread out. These black smoke condors were crafty, they did not clash head-on with Xiao Chen. Instead, they flew to the sides of the warship and the deck, trying to destroy it. Thunder Shadow Chop. Xiao Chen soared into the air, and a blue dragon image moved under his feet. He took 7 steps in the air and killed a black smoke condor with 1 saber strike. Then, the 7 afterimages merged. Xiao Chen swung his saber and instantly killed the remaining 3 black smoke condors, not giving them any chance to retaliate. Xiao Chen, do you need help? Feng Tianming asked as he mended the hole. Xiao Chen replied sullenly, there's no need. Just focus on mending the hole. The two split up the work. Xiao Chen was responsible for killing the black smoke condors while Feng Tianming focused on mending the hole. Under the intense fluctuations, the warship moved forward, wobbling. At the most dangerous moment, more than 100 holes appeared. Xiao Chen executed the Thunder Shadow Chop 5 times in a row. However, he still could not clear out all the black smoke condors in a short time. When a black smoke condor landed on the deck, it pecked ferociously with its long beak. A deep crack immediately appeared in the tough deck. At the critical moment, Xiao Chen used the purple thunder arrow and veritable flame to kill the black smoke condor, avoiding a calamity. After flying like this for 4 hours, the Imperial Dragon was 500 kilometers away from the Black Smoke mountain range. Only then did the black smoke condors slowly leave. When the dark clouds scattered and they saw the sky again, the two heaved a sigh of relief at the same time. Feng Tianming said somewhat joyfully, fortunately, we managed to pass. The warship's spirit stones are almost depleted. If we had held on for another 15 minutes, the energy barrier would have failed. The energy barrier around the warship had already dimmed significantly. Its defensive capabilities were at least 10 times weaker than before. Feng Tianming was not lying. Just at this moment, Xiao Chen suddenly frowned. He quickly said, there is danger. Quintessence, protect yourself. Feng Tianming's face sank. Although he was astonished, he still did as Xiao Chen said. Quintessence spread out from his entire body, forming a nearly solid light barrier. Bang! 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 10 dazzling beams of light shot out from 10 kilometers in front. In an instant they struck the dimmed energy barrier, not giving the Imperial Dragon any chance to turn around. Boom! An intense explosion resounded, and the Imperial Dragon exploded in the air, turning into a clump of light. Countless fragments flew everywhere. Xiao Chen and the others quickly fell to the ground. 10 warships stood in the distant sky. A person stood on the bow of the leading warship. As he looked at the Imperial Dragon, which had turned into a clump of light, he smiled faintly and said, "You can't even withstand a single blow. Let's go." The 10 ancient demonic energy cannons had exhausted a total of 10,000 superior-grade spirit stones. Even if the Imperial Dragon's energy barrier was intact, it would still be somewhat lacking. Now that the energy barrier was practically useless, it would be even worse. Xiao Chen and Feng Tianming had used their quintessence to protect themselves in advance. Furthermore, the warship had blocked some of the shockwaves from the ancient demonic energy cannons. Hence, they did not suffer any serious injuries. Although the other 5 had not received any warning, they had been inside the warship. Hence, the shockwaves were much weaker, and their injuries were not that serious. However, now that the warship was destroyed, it would be impossible for them to rush back before Feng Feishue's wedding. After the group landed, Feng Tianming said hatefully, "The Wan clan's people are too ruthless. Unexpectedly, they ambushed us here in advance." With the warship destroyed, there was no way for them to rush back in advance. By the time the wedding was over, everything would be settled. What was done was done. No one would be able to salvage the situation. Xiao Chen remained calm and collected as he glanced at Feng Tianming's bodyguard. Then, he pulled off the strip of cloth covering his forehead and said, "Take my throne and rush over." Although it is slower than the Imperial Dragon's warship, it is still faster than a cultivator over a long distance. The explosive speed of a cultivator was faster than a regular warship. However, it was troublesome for a cultivator to replenish their quintessence. Traveling for a long time would not be as efficient as using a secret treasure. A light flickered, and a mysterious scarlet throne floated quietly on a clump of red clouds in front. Xiao Chen took the lead and landed on the throne. He said calmly, "Come up quickly. If I use my full power, we should still be able to make it." Feng Tianming's group of 6 stood on the clump of red clouds in shock. Clearly, they found this secret treasure very miraculous. Xiao! A scarlet light flickered as Xiao Chen operated the scarlet throne. It turned into a scarlet arrow high in the sky and quickly headed for the great Jin nation. Feng Tianming smiled happily and said, "Xiao Chen, it is fortunate that you have this move. Otherwise, we would have to return empty-handed." Xiao Chen smiled faintly and did not deny it. Instead, he used his spiritual sense to observe the expressions of Feng Tianming's 5 bodyguards. After a while, Xiao Chen withdrew his spiritual sense. He had a rough idea of what was going on. The headquarters of the Wan Clan's Merchant Association was an independent city in the Great Jin Nation called Wan Clan City. This city was several times larger than Mo City. 3 days later, the group arrived outside Wan Clan City. The city walls were filled with red lanterns. There was a festive atmosphere at the city gates. There was an endless stream of people coming and going. Ha ha! The wedding of the Wan Clan's young master is really grand. I heard that the disciples of the 10 great sects and 8 noble clans are all rushing over to offer their congratulations. Chapter 630. That is natural. The Wan clan is as wealthy as a nation. The 10 great sects and 8 noble clans all have business dealings with them. Now that the Wan clan's young master is getting married, we have to give them some face. I heard that the bride is also a top-notch beauty. She is the female head of the Flying Snow Merchant Association. With this strong alliance, the Wan clan will become even stronger in the future. Let's not talk about this anymore. Let's go in quickly. Tomorrow is the official wedding. No matter what, we have to go and join in the fun. As Xiao Chen, Feng Tianming, and the others stood not far from the city, they heard the discussions of the passers-by. Feng Tianming sighed and said, "At least we are not late. If we were one day late, we would not have been able to do anything." Xiao Chen said calmly, "Let's enter the city and find a place to sit down first. During the wedding tomorrow, we just need to clarify things with the Wan clan's people." Xiao Chen's group concealed themselves a little. After they handed over the wedding gifts, they successfully snuck in. Although it was deep into the night, the Wan clan city was brightly lit and bustling with activity. There were lanterns and colored banners everywhere, looking very festive. Xiao Chen was in his room, cultivating with his eyes closed. Suddenly, he opened his eyes, and his lips curled up. He smiled faintly and said, "You finally revealed your tale." Using his spiritual sense, one of Feng Tianming's bodyguards sneakily opened the door and looked around to make sure no one was around. Unfolding his body, he quickly slipped out of the inn and flew out of the city. Xiao Chen opened the window and left behind a strand of spiritual sense to follow. Then, he followed from a distance. His gaze was cold and emotionless, and a faint killing intent spread out. Aside from Xiao Chen and Feng Tianming, only the 5 bodyguards knew the route Xiao Chen's group took to break through the Black Smoke Mountain range. Feng Tianming would not doubt this. Xiao Chen, the trusted aide who had followed him for many years, would. There could not be such a coincidence in the world. Coincidentally, the Imperial Dragon warship's energy barrier was weakened to its limit, and it received 10 shots from the peak demonic energy cannons. There was definitely a traitor. After releasing the Scarlet Throne, Xiao Chen had been observing the expressions of the 5 guards. The fluctuations in the expression of the guard called Heng did not escape his notice. As expected, Zhang Heng could no longer hold himself back the moment the group arrived at the Wan clan city. This person was extremely cautious. He seemed to have sensed that someone was following him, and he released his perception force several times to search the surroundings. He even set up a misleading formation to draw out Xiao Chen. Unfortunately, Xiao Chen's divine sense could track him from 5 kilometers away. With his perception, he couldn't detect Xiao Chen at all. After a few fruitless attempts, Zhang Heng felt that he was being a little paranoid, so he began to rush at full speed. After a while, he arrived at a remote pavilion. In front of the pavilion, there were cultivators dressed in the attire of the Wan clan standing guard. Zhang Heng stepped forward and handed over a token, and the guards in front of the pavilion immediately let him in. The pavilion was heavily guarded, and it was obvious that it was an important place of the Wan clan. However, Xiao Chen had his spiritual sense and did not need to barge in. He gently landed on a roof and followed Zhang Heng's line of sight to see the situation inside clearly. Zhang Heng arrived at a wing of the pavilion. 2 people had been waiting there for a long time. Xiao Chen recognized one of them. This person was the welcoming envoy of the Bushan Palace, Wan Feng. The person beside Wan Feng was a handsome youth dressed in magnificent clothes with a decorative hat on his head. Compared to Wan Feng, this person was also a rare and elegant youth. However, he had a worldly air to him. In comparison, this person's aura was much weaker. From the conversation between the two, Xiao Chen found out this person's identity. This person was called Wan Shan, and he was the one who married Feng Feishuat. Wan Shan looked at Zhang Heng with some surprise. He said, "I received news that you were shot down near the Black Smoke Mountain range. How did you arrive at my Wan clan city so quickly?" Zhang Heng did not hide anything as he said, "Xiao Chen has a strange throne secret treasure. It does not consume spiritual energy to fly, and it is extremely fast. Without that throne, Feng Tianming would not have been able to rush over." Wan Shan frowned slightly and asked, "The king-grade true dragon genius, the white-robed bladesman Xiao Chen?" Zhang Heng nodded and said, "That's right, that's him. The Xiao clan seems to have a marriage agreement with the Feng clan's ancestor, so Feng Tianming invited him over. Here are 10,000 superior-grade spirit stones and a void-breaking pill. Tell me where they are staying, and you may leave." Wan Shan had not expected this matter to involve Xiao Chen. He felt a headache coming on. he took out a spatial ring and tossed it to Zhang Heng before waving his hand. Zhang Heng had obtained the benefits that he wanted. He revealed an excited expression and withdrew in satisfaction. Cousin, this Xiao Chen is not easy to deal with. The last time Sima Lingxian advanced to martial monarch, he did not even last one move against him. I have no idea what his limits are. Wan Shan looked at Wan Feng and said, furthermore, it is probably not convenient for my great-grandfather to make a move. Xiao Chen possesses the luck of the Sky Dome realm. If a martial sage makes a move against him, there will be dire consequences. Wan Feng smiled faintly and said, how strong can a lower realm martial monarch be? You can rest assured and go hug your beauty. Leave this Xiao Chen to me. Seeing that Wan Shan still seemed worried, Wan Feng said softly, according to the Sky Dome realm, that Zhang Heng is a peak inferior grade martial monarch. I am also only an inferior grade martial monarch. However, I will not even use 10% of my strength to deal with him. Not even using 10% of my strength to deal with a peak inferior grade martial monarch. Wan Shan exclaimed, really? Wan Feng withdrew his smile and said with a grave expression, the Kunlun realm is a great realm that you cannot imagine. What does a martial monarch count for there? Don't worry. If Xiao Chen comes to cause trouble, I will be the first to stop him. Remember to act quickly and swallow up the Feng clan as soon as possible. This time, I need to bring back 1 million superior grade spirit stones. There are too many people to bribe. Wan Shan nodded and said, no problem. Given the wealth that the Feng clan has accumulated over 1,000 years, they will definitely be able to take out 1 million superior grade spirit stones. Up on the roof, Xiao Chen withdrew his spiritual sense and revealed an expression of contemplation. It turned out that the Wan clan had already made up their mind to swallow up the Feng clan. The Wan clan probably had a special channel to send some of the resources they plundered to the upper realms Wan Feng. Otherwise, the Wan clan would not have risen so quickly. Xiao Chen casually glanced around and found Zhang Heng. Then, he smiled faintly and collected his thoughts. Xiao. Under the full moon, Xiao Chen gently moved. His white robes were like a specter in the night as he silently landed in front of Zhang Heng. Young Master Xiao, why are you here? Zhang Heng had obtained more than 10,000 superior grade spirit stones out of nowhere and the void-breaking pill for breaking through his bottleneck. When Xiao Chen saw Xiao Chen suddenly appear, he was startled and exclaimed loudly. Xiao Chen stared at the other party and did not say anything. He withdrew his killing intent and silently placed his right hand on his saber hilt. Zhang Heng felt guilty. When Xiao Chen looked at him, he felt goosebumps. Under the huge mental pressure, he could not help but tremble. A deathly silence spread out in the surroundings. Xiao Chen said calmly, break your meridians yourself. Don't force me to make a move. At this moment, Zhang Heng could already guess that his whereabouts had probably been exposed. At first, he wasn't just being paranoid. A ruthless look flashed in Zhang Heng's eyes as he suddenly attacked. His quintessence surged, and a fist wind tore through space, punching at Xiao Chen. However, when Zhang Heng was about to attack, he suddenly changed his move and retreated. It turned out that this was just a feint to confuse Xiao Chen and create an opportunity for him to escape back to the pavilion. Blue Dragon Tail Whip. However, reality was cruel and merciless. The fist wind only shattered the afterimage that Xiao Chen left behind. As for Xiao Chen, he moved in an arc and instantly attacked. Ka Xie. A resplendent purple saber light lit up the night. Zhang Heng cried out in pain as his right arm was chopped off. The explosive speed of the blue dragon tail whip was not something that Zhang Heng could dodge. When Zhang Heng attacked, he did not even have an opportunity to defend. Bang! Bang! Xiao Chen sheathed his saber and punched with his right hand, shattering this person's dantian. Then, he struck the back of this person's neck, knocking him out. Everything happened in an instant, as fast as a spark. Zhang Heng did not even feel the pain before he fainted. Casually carrying this person on his back, Xiao Chen returned to the inn and tossed him into Feng Tianming's room. When Feng Tianming saw Zhang Heng's body, shock appeared on his face. He asked, "What's going on? Did you get ambushed?" Xiao Chen told Feng Tianming everything he saw and heard. Then, he took out 10,000 superior-grade spirit stones and void-breaking pills from Zhang Heng's spatial ring. Ungrateful dog. With a witness and material evidence, Feng Tianming had no choice but to believe the facts before him. He immediately felt enraged and sent a palm strike at Zhang Heng. Xiao Chen stopped him and said, "Keeping him alive is still useful. This place is no longer safe. We have to change places." Feng Tianming thought for a while and understood. He instructed the remaining 4 to carry Zhang Heng and quickly leave this place. 10 minutes after the group left, the Wan clan elders immediately led a large group of people to this place, surging with killing qi. However, they did not discover anyone, so they could not help but feel disappointed. "We are too late. Continue searching. We absolutely cannot let them appear during the day," the elder leading the group said sullenly. If no one knew about it at night, they could still kill these people. However, killing the bride's father in front of the guests during the day would not work. Early the next morning, before the sky had even brightened, the entire Wan clan city was already bustling with activity. There was an endless stream of people walking the streets. The drifting snow sword sect's people are here as well. The top 10 of the true dragon ranking, Lu Xiaoyun, is here as well. The 8 noble clans by Qi is here as well. The scions of the Qian clan and Wang clan are here as well. Sima Lingxian is here as well. The Haotian sect's Yu Chensi is here as well. Nearly all the 10 great sects and 8 great sects are here. The Wan clan's reputation is indeed great. On the second floor of an inn in the city, many cultivators gathered by the window. They looked at the people passing by below. When they saw these famous people, they would occasionally exclaim in surprise. Xiao Chen, who was in the inn, wore a conical bamboo hat as he looked at the crowd below. He felt it was strange as well. He had not expected the Wan clan to have such influence. Nearly all the famous sects and noble clans in the entire Great Jin nation had rushed over. Many of their scions were here as well. Feng Tianming, who was also wearing a conical bamboo hat, sighed softly. Originally, with the Wan clan's reputation, it would not be necessary for the 10 great sects and 8 noble clans to come personally. However, the welcoming envoy this time is actually related to the Wan clan. Chapter 631. For Wan Feng to be the welcoming envoy, he definitely had a significant background in the Kunlun realm. He was definitely not some random nobody. Everyone understood this point. By relying on Wan Feng's hard work in the Kunlun realm, the Wan clan would definitely prosper in the future. There would be no harm in establishing a good relationship with them. On the other hand, if they offended the Wan clan and their geniuses went to the Kunlun realm, they would definitely be suppressed by the faction behind Wan Feng. There would be no benefits at all. Under the conical bamboo hat, Xiao Chen's expression appeared extremely calm. After receiving a favor, he made a promise. Since he had already agreed, there was no turning back. If he did not agree to a promise, then he would do his best. The two slowly left the crowd and went to a private room of the inn. Then, they quietly waited for news, not saying anything. After a while, one of Feng Tianming's personal guards carefully pushed open the door and entered. Feng Tianming, who had been waiting for a long time, immediately stood up and asked, "How is it? Did you find out anything?" "The wedding will be held in the Wan clan's castle. It will start at noon," that person answered respectfully. Feng Tianming pushed open the window and looked up at the sky. Then, he said, "There is still an hour before it starts. Let's go. We have to explain everything to everyone before the wedding." The Wan clan's residence was heavily guarded, with countless experts. If they tried to barge in, not only would they have to pay a high price, but they might even endanger Feng Feishue's life. Last night, they discussed all night and decided to explain everything clearly in front of all the guests in the world. Given Feng Tianming's status and the bride's father, his words were the most persuasive. No matter how shameless the Wan clan's people were, they would not go to the extent of making a move in front of everyone. The Wan clan's castle was vast and majestic. With one glance, it looked like a small city. It occupied a large area and was heavily guarded. This was the core of the Wan clan's headquarters. When the group arrived before the castle, they removed their conical bamboo hats and followed the invited guests to the castle's entrance. Halt! Who are you? Do you have an invitation? Without an invitation, you are not allowed to enter. The guard said coldly as he blocked Feng Tianming's group without any expression on his face. Feng Tianming took out his identity medallion to prove his identity. He said angrily, "What do you mean? I am the bride's father. Why do I need an invitation to enter?" The guards in front of them had obviously received instructions from their superiors and had no intention of letting them pass. A group of guards quietly surrounded them, using the human wall to cover their figures, so that the other guests did not know what was happening here. On top of the wall, the Wan clan's family head, Wan Baolu, Wan Feng, and Wan Shan, looked coldly at Feng Tianming and the others below. Behind them stood 8 martial monarchs with high cultivations. They were expressionless and had withdrawn their murderous intent. These 8 people were the Wan clan's famous 8 great guardian deities. When they worked together, they could easily kill a peak martial monarch. Wan Feng smiled gently and said, "Uncle, go and greet the guests. Cousin, go and receive the bride. Leave this place to me. With me here, I guarantee that they won't be able to enter." Wan Baolu tactfully rejected the other party's request and said with a smile, "You worry too much, honorable nephew. There's no need for honorable nephew to do anything about guarding the door. 8 great guardian deities, all of you guard this place. If they want to barge in, just show them what you're made of." Wan Feng glanced at the 8 great guardian deities behind him and did not say anything more. These 8 great guardian deities knew a combination technique. Even if they fought head-on, it would be difficult to deal with them. With these 8 people here, they would be able to keep Xiao Chen and the others at the door. At the very least, they would be able to last until the wedding was over. At that time, it would not matter whether the other party entered or not. The 3 chatted and laughed as they left, leaving only the 8 great guardian deities coldly staring at Xiao Chen and the others below. Xiao Chen raised his head and glanced at the castle, at Wan Feng and the others leaving. Then, he projected his voice to Feng Tianming and said, "We can't get through here. Don't waste your time here." Feng Tianming felt very sullen. His daughter was getting married, and he, the father-in-law, was blocked outside, not even able to enter. Scram! Is the Wan clan a place where you can behave atrociously? I don't care what your status is. Without an invitation, you cannot enter. The leader of the guards did not even bother to look at Feng Tianming, directly chasing him away. This was the headquarters of the great Jin nation's Wan clan. In this place, the Wan clan was the king. With the orders of the clan head, these guards did not care about the 6 martial monarchs before them. Even if Xiao Chen barged in, he did not fear the other party. It was just 6 martial monarchs. All 36 martial monarchs of the Wan clan's branches had arrived long ago. Furthermore, there were also the 8 great guardian deities who did not leave the headquarters for long periods of time. Unless a martial sage came, it would be impossible to knock on the door. After receiving Xiao Chen's instructions, Feng Tianming was infuriated. However, he endured it and did not flare up on the spot. Instead, he led the group away. The leader of the 8 great guardian deities, Tuo Yun, smiled coldly and said, "At least you are tactful. I have not truly stretched my limbs for many years." Someone at the side smiled and said, "The person in the middle seems to be the white-robed bladesman Xiao Chen, the King True Dragon ranked first on this True Dragon ranking." Tuo Yun said in disdain, "A King Grade True Dragon? Wait until he matures. Now? Ha ha. If he dares to behave atrociously here, I do not mind teaching this little fellow a lesson." After Feng Tianming led the group far away, he could not help asking, "Xiao Chen, why did you call us out? The wedding is about to begin." After a moment of silence, Xiaochen said, "The Wan clan's 8 great guardian deities are watching us from the top of the wall. They can't wait for us to make a move so that they can delay us here." When the group heard the name of the 8 great guardian deities, their expressions changed involuntarily. The 8 great guardian deities were very famous, and their methods were very sinister. The Wan clan's headquarters had been in closed-door cultivation for so many years, and the martial sages had not dared to do anything to them, all because of the ferocious reputation of the 8 great guardian deities. Even in the Great Jin nation, where experts were as common as the clouds, the 8 great guardian deities were peak characters. When the 8 of them executed their joint martial techniques, they could even kill a peak martial monarch. What should we do? Could it be that we can only watch as they snatch Fei Xue away? Feng Tianming asked, feeling depressed. Xiaochen said, "I have a 50% chance of dealing with the 8 great guardian deities. The more difficult one to deal with is that person called Wan Feng. However, that is not the main point for now. I'll go and see where else we can enter." The Wan clan's fortress occupied a vast area. Xiaochen did not believe that any other place could maintain the same level of defense as the main gate. Xiaochen circled around the airtight fortress from a distance. He meticulously observed the defensive strength of the fortress's outer perimeter. He discovered that although the walls were vast, there were guards at every certain distance. The guards were made up of 10 martial saints and 1 martial king. They were all very strong. As long as there was any movement anywhere, they would be able to respond with a single call. The entire group of guards would quickly assemble, not giving the enemy any opportunity to attack. "I can only kill them by force. I can kill 7 of them in an instant. Leave the other 3 to Feng Tianming and the others. It should not be a problem." After a while, Xiaochen had an idea. He called Feng Tianming and the others over to a wall at the back of the fortress. "There are 11 guards. I will deal with 7 of them. As for the remaining 4, can each of you deal with 1? Xiaochen pointed to a pair of guards patrolling the wall and said, "Furthermore, you have to do it within 1 breath of time. We cannot startle the people in other places or give them a chance to activate the alarms in their hands." Feng Tianming and the others were all martial monarchs. If they attacked suddenly, it would not be difficult to kill 4 people in an instant. On the other hand, Xiaochen wanted to kill 7 people in 1 move. This worried Feng Tianming. He asked, "Xiaochen, will you be fine?" "I'm fine. I am very confident." Feng Tianming did not say anything more. He said, "If you are all fine, then let's make our move on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Xiao!" 5 figures soared into the sky, each of them pouncing on their opponents. They gathered quintessence in their hands, and with a bang, the opponents of Feng Tianming and the others fell silently. The horrifying nature of quintessence was not something the essence of these martial saints and martial kings could withstand. Feng Tianming turned his head to look, wanting to understand Xiaochen's situation. He wanted to see if he had made any mistakes so that he could salvage the situation. With Xiaochen's strength, there was no need to doubt that he could deal with 7 martial saints. However, Feng Tianming was still worried about silently dealing with his opponents in an instant. However, the instant Feng Tianming turned his head, he did not manage to catch Xiaochen's attack. He only saw 7 afterimages quickly merging together in the air. The many afterimages merged together. When Xiaochen sheathed the lunar shadow saber in his hand, it gave off a dreamlike feeling. The 7 Wan clan guards behind him all had a faint scar on their necks, and they slowly fell to the ground without a sound. "Put on their clothes. It should be easier to sneak in later," Feng Tianming said after thinking for a while. The group changed into the clothes of the guards. Xiaochen used the purple flames to burn the corpses. After he destroyed the corpses, they jumped down together and officially entered this heavily guarded fortress. The moment they landed, they heard cheerful music. It sounded very festive. The place where the music came from must be where the wedding was taking place. Feng Tianming's face sank. Without saying anything, he quickly rushed over. Along the way, there were many bright red flower pots on both sides. With one glance, it looked very beautiful. There were many people coming and going in the fortress. It was clearly very busy. It looked like the Wan clan had put in a lot of effort for this wedding. Relying on the Wan clan guards' clothes, the group arrived safely at the place where the music came from. It was a huge plaza. The plaza was filled with neatly arranged wine tables. A rough count would give at least 1,000 tables. Those who could sit at these tables were all famous people of the great Jin nation. This was especially so for the ones at the front. All of them were honored guests of the 10 great sects and 8 noble clans. The entire place was filled with laughter. Amid the music, it was peaceful. The Wan clan's clan head, Wan Baolu, sat in the middle of the tall platform with a smile on his face. Occasionally, he toasted the people who came to congratulate him. Wan Feng sat beside Wan Baolu. He had a faint smile on his face. As Wan Feng looked at the people who came to congratulate him, there was a trace of mockery in his eyes. It seemed like he looked down on the people of the Sky Dome realm from the bottom of his heart. Old brother Wan, for your wedding this time, my evil moon pavilion offers a 5,000-year-old heavenly mountain snow ginseng as a token of our sincerity. The evil moon pavilion's vice pavilion master stood up and offered a brocade box. Wan Baolu smiled widely and said, "You are too polite. Anything will do." Chapter 632. This pair of moonlight treasured lotuses will be my Wang clan's congratulatory gift, the Wang clan elder of the 8 noble clans said as he stood up. Following that, the 10 major sects and 8 major clans stood up one by one and presented their gifts, although they were not particularly valuable. The 8 noble clans and 10 great sects were willing to give face to his Wan clan. This was something no other faction could do. Wan Baolu felt very pleased. He knew that this was all thanks to Wan Feng. If Wan Feng had not been the welcoming envoy, he would have made a name for himself in the Kunlun realm. He estimated that even half of the people from the 10 great sects and 8 noble clans would have come. When the Haotian sect's Yu Chenxi saw all this, her lips twitched. This Wan clan is really impressive. Isn't it just a welcoming envoy? Is there a need to praise him like this? The Haotian sect elder at the side quickly said, "Chenxi, speak softly. That Wan Feng is not as simple as you think. He broke through to martial monarch in the Kunlun realm. He is even stronger than us old fellows. His talent is also stronger than that of a regular genius with luck. However, these are not important. The main thing is that his master, the extreme old man, is one of the martial sages with the highest chance of becoming Emperor Wu in the past 100 years. The extreme sect behind him is even stronger than our Haotian sect. Don't offend him now. Otherwise, when he returns to the Kunlun realm, you will gain a terrifying enemy for no reason." When Yu Chenxi heard this, she did not say anything more. Just at this moment, Wan Feng looked over with a strange expression as if he had heard the conversation between the two. Immediately, Yu Chenxi felt a huge pressure. She had just broken through to martial monarch 7 days ago. Her cultivation now rivaled that of several of the elders in her sect. However, under the pressure of Wan Feng's gaze, her aura could not resist much. Even the circulation of her quintessence became very difficult. When the elder at the side saw this, he quickly released his aura to bear this pressure. Wan Feng smiled disdainfully and withdrew his aura. He picked up his wine cup and slowly took a sip. He muttered to himself, "Someone who is not even in the top 3 of the lower realms dares to gossip about me?" However, she did look pretty good. Xiao Qin wondered if she was still a virgin. If she was, when he went to the Kunlun realm, he could use her as a cultivation cauldron for his senior brothers. Yu Chenxi felt a lingering fear in his heart. The other party's gaze contained an extremely cold aura. Coupled with the pressure of his aura, his entire body was bone-chilling, and he felt like he was sitting on pins and needles. Are the geniuses of the Kunlun realm all this strong? A random inferior-grade martial monarch actually makes me feel like I have no chance of victory. The Haotian sect elder at the side consoled, "Don't underestimate yourself. He is only so strong because he went to the Kunlun realm a few years earlier than you. His accumulations are deeper than yours, and his talent is not much stronger than yours. As long as you work hard, you will catch up to him sooner or later. Yu Chenxi nodded and said, I wonder what kind of great realm the Kunlun realm is. Although the clash of auras between Wan Feng and Yu Chenxi was short and did not cause a large commotion, Bai Qi, Lu Xiaoyun, Gong Yangyu, Nangong Ziyue, and the others, who were seated in front, saw it clearly. The shock in their hearts was no less than Yu Chenxi's. From the end of the five-nation youth competition until now, these people had used their luck to break through to martial monarch. When they saw that the older generation experts of their sects were not as strong as them, they all felt proud and satisfied with their own strength. However, when they saw Wan Feng's strength, it was like a bucket of cold water had been poured over them. Bai Qi muttered, this fellow is already so terrifying even before he makes a move. If he makes a move, how horrifying will his strength be? Gong Yangyu, who was not far away, thought even further. Wan Feng's talent was not the most outstanding in the Kunlun realm, yet he could easily suppress everyone. If that was the case, when they went to the Kunlun realm, the glory of the past geniuses would immediately vanish, like an unremarkable drop of rain falling into the vast ocean. Gong Yangyu clenched his fist tightly and said to himself, however, even so, I still have to go to the Kunlun realm. I would rather be the tail of a phoenix than the head of a chicken. I will do my best to catch up in this great age. Old brother Wan, isn't it time to invite the newcomers up? It has been so long already, someone at the table said to Wan Baolu with a smile. Wan Baolu raised his head and looked at the time. Then, he smiled faintly and said, the auspicious hour is almost here. It is time to come out. Men! Invite the two newcomers up. A group of pretty maids immediately appeared behind them. Amidst the ceremonial music, they brought in Wan Feng, who was dressed in long red robes, and Feng Feishue, who was wearing a red veil. Feng Feishue's footsteps were very unnatural, like she was under some kind of restriction. However, with the support of the maidservants, she still walked forward step by step. With the appearance of the two newcomers, the atmosphere of the place immediately reached a climax. All sorts of praises for them, like they were a perfect match made in heaven and earth. Wan Baolo's face flushed red, feeling very carefree in his heart. Marrying Feng Feishue would be equivalent to obtaining half of the Feng clan's assets. As long as Feng Tianming died, Wan Shan would be able to become the Feng clan's son-in-law and take over the entire Feng clan's business. Wan Baolu raised his head and looked at the sky. Then, he stood up and smiled. The auspicious hour is here. After bowing to heaven and earth, the Feng clan's young miss will officially enter my Wan clan. The noise at the scene gradually quieted down. Everyone's eyes were focused on the two newlyweds. After 3 bows, they would be officially married. Suddenly, an extremely abrupt voice rang out in the quiet place, you still cannot bow to heaven and earth. The plaza immediately turned even quieter. Tens of thousands of people turned their heads to look at the same time. Unexpectedly, someone dared to interrupt the Wan clan's wedding at this moment. This person was truly reckless. Xiao Chen and the others removed their Wan clan guard uniforms and walked through the empty space between the tables. They looked at Wan Baolu and the others without any fear. It's him, the white-robed bladesman Xiao Chen. Why is he here? Is this fellow seeking death? The Wan clan has many experts. Even if he is a king-grade true dragon genius, he has not truly matured yet. He cannot possibly deal with the Wan clan. That's not right. The person beside him seems to be the Feng clan's clan head, Feng Tianming. What are these people doing here? Strange. Father-in-law's face looks frighteningly pale. What's going on? When the 6 saw Feng Tianming's figure, they all felt that the situation was strange. Something might have happened to this wedding. This group of fellows still managed to rush over, Wan Shan said with a sullen expression as he clenched his right fist. Are the 8 great guardian deities trash? The crafty Wan Baolu was much calmer. He waved his hand and said softly, don't get anxious. They might have come from somewhere else. However, it does not matter whether they came or not. The result cannot be changed. After saying that, Wan Feng waved his hand again, signaling one of his subordinates to call the 8 great guardian deities back. Wan Feng's expression did not change. He stared at Xiao Chen and revealed a faint smile on his handsome face. Wan Feng muttered to himself, a king-grade true dragon genius. This is an opportunity. Among the same generation, a king-grade true dragon genius absolutely could not be defeated. Once defeated, he would immediately become an ordinary true dragon genius, as the path of a king did not permit failure. If I can defeat him here, when his luck in the Sky Dome realm is at its most horrifying, I might be able to steal some of his luck. Thinking of this, Wan Feng's eyes lit up. An intense intent to plunder appeared in his sullen eyes. The one with the surname Wan, are you not even letting me in for my daughter's wedding? Feng Tianming stepped forward and immediately shouted angrily at Wan Baolu. He had been suppressing the rage in his heart for too long. Now that it erupted, he did not show any courtesy to Wan Baolu. The moment Feng Tianming said that, the guests burst into an uproar. What was going on with this wedding? Even the father-in-law was not allowed to enter. Wan Baolu smiled calmly and said, how can that be? There must be some misunderstanding. Someone, prepare a seat of honor for the in-laws. Feng Tianming shouted coldly, Wan Baolu, don't play this game with me. My daughter never agreed to marry your son. 4 years ago, the 2 clans only discussed the matter. You took advantage of me leaving the Feng clan to kidnap my daughter. I do not blame you today. However, don't stop me from taking Fei Xue away. That can't be. The Wan clan is actually forcefully snatching someone else's daughter. That is too despicable. No wonder this wedding felt strange from the start. I did not see a single member of the bride's family. The expressions of the crowd as they looked at Wan Baolu immediately changed. They had not expected such a thing to happen. Wan Baolu's expression did not change. He smiled gently and said, why do you say that? My Wan clan has already given you the betrothal gifts. Your big brother has also signed for them on your behalf. There is proof here. With a flip of his hand, Wan Baolu took out a stack of betrothal gifts. Feng Tianhua's signature and handprint were on them, they were genuine. After Wan Baolu showed the betrothal gifts to the guests, he suddenly stood up. Unperturbed, he enunciated every word clearly, Brother Feng, if you want to be friendly, sit down and drink the wedding wine. In the future, our clans will be in-laws. If you want to break off the engagement and slap my Wan clan's face in front of everyone, you can forget about leaving this Wan clan today. Don't even think of leaving the Wan clan castle today. My Wan clan isn't a place that anyone can fool. Right after Wan Baolu spoke, the 36 martial monarchs of the Wan clan's branches suddenly stood up. A strong killing intent surged towards Feng Tianming's group of 3. The combined killing chi of the 36 peak inferior grade martial monarchs was incredibly horrifying. Combined with Wan Baolu's sinister words, their auras immediately suppressed Feng Tianming. Feng Tianming immediately felt the pressure on him increase. He could not say many things he wanted to say. The sudden change in the situation confused the surrounding guests. They did not know what was going on. Wan Baolu looked coldly at Feng Tianming, revealing deep disdain in his eyes. You want to play with me? Why don't you look at where you are? After waking Zhang Heng, who was on his shoulder, up, Xiao Chen casually tossed him aside and placed the scabbard on his back. Then, he said calmly, tell me everything you know in detail. Zhang Heng had seen Xiao Chen's methods before, so he did not dare to disobey. He said in a trembling voice, the Wan clan bribed Feng Tianhua long ago. The Wan clan promised to help him obtain the position of clan head, which is why he signed. Chapter 633. Pooh! Just as Zhang Heng spoke, Wan Baolu suddenly made his move. A dim light shot out and pierced through Zhang Heng's head. Where did this dog come from? To think that he dares to slander my Wan clan. How reckless! Xiao Qin could have stopped this earlier attack. However, he did not do so, as there was no need to do so. After all, everything before him was just a situation. Xiao Qin had never been so naive as to rely on evidence to resolve a problem in someone else's territory. Wan Baolu stood upright with his hands behind his back. After killing Zhang Heng, he looked coldly at Xiao Qin and said, "Let me give you a piece of advice. White-robed bladesman Xiao Qin, there are some muddy waters in this world that you cannot meddle in. The marriage of my Wan clan and Feng clan is not for you to interfere." Just as Feng Tianming was about to say something, Xiao Qin stopped him. He said calmly to Wan Baolu, "Whether it is for me to interfere or not is not up to you. As for the truth, you just have to get the bride to speak, and the truth will be revealed." Everyone reacted. That's right. What exactly is going on? Just get the person involved to speak, and everything will be clear. The red-robed Wan Shan said sternly, "Fei Xue is not feeling well. It is not convenient for her to speak. What does it have to do with you whether she speaks or not?" As Xiao Qin spoke, the killing intent of the 36 martial monarchs focused on him. They wanted to use their killing intent to force Xiao Qin back. Before a strong aura, people would unconsciously lose some of their confidence, messing up their plans. This was what happened to Feng Tianming earlier. Now, this group of people had the chance to use the same trick again. Xiao Qin smiled coldly to himself. Unexpectedly, they dare to play with killing intent with me. Interesting. A faint red light flickered in the depths of Xiao Qin's eyes. The peak state of massacre instantly surged out. A vast, ocean-like killing intent surged out like a flood. In that instant, it drowned out the killing intent of the 36 martial monarchs. Then, it continued forward without stopping. The strong killing intent stunned the 36 martial monarchs. They could not help but take a step back. Xiao Qin single-handedly forced back the killing intent of 36 martial monarchs. Such a shocking scene caused many people to take a deep breath. Xiao Qin's strength was becoming more and more unfathomable. Xiao Qin smiled faintly and said, "I'm feeling unwell. I'm afraid you guys have cast a restriction on me, so I can't open my mouth or circulate my energy. If I can make her open her mouth, I'll immediately turn around and leave. 10,000 Treasure Tower, do you dare?" Xiao Qin's voice was calm and indifferent, neither servile nor overbearing. He looked at Wan Baolu, who was like a king in Wan Clan City, and directly asked. Now that things have come to this, everyone present felt that there was definitely something fishy about this matter. Also, the Wan clan shouldn't be in the wrong. If not for his guilty conscience, he would not have killed Zhang Heng, nor would he have kept the bride in silence. However, this was the headquarters of the Wan clan. There were many experts here. Even if he was in the wrong, it would be very difficult for this Xiao Qin to bring the bride away, almost impossible. Wan Baolu felt frustrated. He shouted angrily, "Who do you think you are? How dare you speak to me like that? This is the territory of my Wan clan. We do not welcome you here. Scram immediately. You don't dare. In that case, I'll come and ask her personally." Xiao Qin carried the black wooden box on his back and held the lunar shadow saber in his left hand. He wore white robes and gently pushed off the ground. A resonant dragon roar came from Xiao Qin's body. He stood on a blue dragon image and quickly flew towards Feng Feixue. Wan Baolu was startled. He had not expected Xiao Qin to be so bold, daring to make a move in the Wan clan's territory in front of everyone. "You overestimate yourself. Block him. Don't let him get close to Feng Feixue." Wan Baolu shouted angrily as he smacked the table heavily. "Xiao! Xiao! Xiao!" Instantly, the 36 martial monarchs leaped up and unleashed their strong auras. As their quintessence surged, heaven and earth trembled. They all executed their best moves, giving off a resplendent light as they charged at Xiao Qin. Even though there were no superior-grade martial monarchs among the 36 martial monarchs, their aura was still very horrifying. Quintessence gathered and tore pitch-black tears in space. Everyone outside sucked in a deep breath. The Wan clan was too ruthless. They immediately mobilized 36 martial monarchs. It seemed like they wanted to suppress Xiao Chen. First martial uncle, please make a move and stop them. Xiao Chen will die, Yu Chenxi said to the Haotian sect elder beside him. That old man muttered, if I make a move, it will be useless. You should not make a move either. No martial monarch would be able to withstand the attacks of 36 martial monarchs. Yu Chenxi said anxiously, then what should we do? Are we just going to watch Xiao Chen die? He agreed to join my Haotian sect. It's fine. I already sent a message to Old Feng. As long as a martial sage does not make a move, he will not be able to do anything to the Wan clan. The old man said indifferently, as for now, let's just play it by ear. If Xiao Chen dies like this, he will not be worth the Haotian sect nurturing. As the old man spoke, the situation in the air changed. A Taiji yin-yang flame diagram appeared in front of Xiao Chen. Yin-yang, the 4 divisions, and the 8 trigrams appeared on the surface. The Taiji yin-yang flame diagram lit up, and all the attacks were reflected at an even faster speed. Pooh! Pooh! Waves of air surged and light overflowed in all directions. Blurry traces were refracted in space, and miserable shrieks resounded in succession. When the light scattered and the shock waves calmed, Xiao Chen, dressed in white and carrying a wooden box on his back, remained unharmed. The 36 martial monarchs who soared into the air were all caught off guard by their own killing moves. All of them were caught off guard by their own killer moves, groaning in pain as they fell down. Such a scene shocked everyone. In merely one breath of time, the 36 martial monarchs with surging auras were beaten into such a sorry state. That Haotian sect elder gaped and exclaimed in shock, how can this be? He really blocked the attacks of 36 martial monarchs. Wan Baolu said in a flustered and exasperated manner, bunch of trash. Get up and kill him. Xiao! When the 36 martial monarchs on the ground heard Wan Baolu's angry shout, they did not have time to adjust their chaotic auras. They got up and charged at Xiao Chen again. The Taiji yin-yang flame diagram had suffered such a huge attack. Xiao Chen had exhausted too much of his mental energy, and he could not continue using it. Xiao Chen flicked his sleeves, and the 2 clumps of yin and yang flames on the Taiji yin-yang flame diagram turned into 2 beams of light and returned to his eyes. After doing all this, the 3 martial monarchs at the front charged over again. Xiao Chen placed his right hand on his saber hilt and smiled coldly to himself. These people are too arrogant. They are severely injured, yet they do not adjust their energy properly. Instead, they dare to continue attacking. Do they really think that they can take me down in 2 or 3 moves? Clouds move in all directions, wind and lightning gather. As the winds blew and clouds churned, thunder roared. Xiao Chen drew his saber and gathered his dense quintessence on his saber. He executed the starting stance of the lightning tribulation saber technique. Ka Xie. Ka Xie. The combined momentum of the 3 martial monarchs was instantly destroyed. The clash of states, auras, and saber intents could not withstand a single strike. They all vomited a mouthful of blood and fell back. The injuries in their bodies had not completely stabilized in the first place. Now that they were even more injured, they could not get up and temporarily lost their combat prowess. Taking advantage of the time the 3 martial monarchs delayed, the remaining 30-odd martial monarchs formed a new encirclement and launched an unending barrage of attacks. Roar! Roar! The dragon roar in Xiao Chen's body resounded endlessly. He stood on a blue dragon image and flashed through the crowd. Using his advantage in speed, he dodged the combined attacks of these people. Bang! 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 The Wan clan's advantage in numbers was nothing before Xiao Chen's speed. The encirclement was full of openings. Light danced around, and surging shock waves swept through the place. Occasionally, Xiao Chen knocked someone back with his saber. It was unknown whether they were dead or alive. The shock waves of a battle between martial monarchs were extremely horrifying. Saber chi, sword chi, and fist winds immediately riddled the peaceful plaza with holes, leaving the place in tatters. The honored guests from all over the great Jin nation had already gathered and watched from afar. They were afraid of getting caught in the crossfire. Most of them were not even martial monarchs. When the other geniuses on the True Dragon ranking saw this scene, they were all stunned. In less than half a year, the white-robed bladesman in the air fought 36 martial monarchs without being at a disadvantage. Instead, the more he fought, the more valiant he became. His aura flourished. As wind and thunder roared, Shao Qin used the lightning tribulation saber technique to beat up these one-clan martial monarchs, who were normally insufferably arrogant, until they could only passively defend. Bai Qi's right hand, which held his saber, could not help but tremble slightly. As a bladesman himself, he could feel more clearly than anyone else how horrifying Shao Chen's current strength was. Fight! 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 Shao Chen felt extremely delighted. Dressed in white, he stood on a blue dragon image and soared up and down. Electricity leaped around the saber and flickered endlessly. The lightning tribulation saber technique was executed to its heart's content. Many figures shot out and landed at Wan Baolo's feet, crying out in pain. Wan Baolo's complexion turned ashen as he watched all this. How many years had it been since his Wan clan suffered such a huge blow? Furthermore, this happened in the Wan clan's fortress. Earthly lightning chop. The might of wind and thunder finally reached its peak. Shao Chen turned into the heavenly Tao and sent down the first lightning tribulation in the boundless dark clouds. Boom! The malevolent lightning turned into electric light and surged out. 7 or 8 martial monarchs in the air were immediately blasted away. Heavenly lightning tribulation. Another even more horrifying lightning tribulation descended. After the light scattered, there were less than 10 martial monarchs still standing in the air. Divine lightning tribulation. The sky changed color. It seemed like thunder roared in the sky 3 kilometers high. The rage of a deity and the vast heavenly might spread out. Run! The remaining martial monarchs were so frightened that they paled. They completely lost their will to fight. When they faced the final strike of the lightning tribulation saber technique, they fled in all directions. Xiao! The electric light split into 7, looking like 7 flood dragons bearing fangs and claws. They immediately caught up to the 7 fleeing martial monarchs, and 7 loud sounds rang out. The 7 fleeing martial monarchs were even more severely injured. Their clothes were tattered, and their skin was charred black. The saber chi invaded their bodies and damaged their internal organs. It was a tragic sight. When all the light vanished, the world regained its calm. Only Shao Chen remained in the air. The entire plaza fell silent. Shao Chen dealt with 36 peak inferior grade martial monarchs with just 1 lightning tribulation saber technique. These martial monarchs could not retaliate at all. They were in a passive position, unable to even launch a decent counterattack. If not for the spatial tears in the sky that had not mended yet, this would have been the result of a battle between martial monarchs. No one believed that Shao Chen really defeated 36 inferior grade martial monarchs. Chapter 634. Martial monarchs were monarchs among martial cultivators. Even an inferior grade martial monarch would be considered a peak expert anywhere in the Tianwu continent. However, to Shao Chen had defeated him like he was chopping vegetables. The rumors are indeed true. A king-grade true dragon genius is unrivaled within the same cultivation realm. To them, challenging those of higher cultivation is as easy as eating and drinking. Shao Chen cannot use the standards of ordinary people to judge these people. This insignificant sky dome realm will not be able to hide this true dragon. The people below discussed as they looked at Shao Chen, their gazes filled with astonishment. Favored by luck, king-grade true dragon, all sorts of glory. Regardless of whether one was willing or not, the current Shao Chen had already risen in the sky dome realm. He had left the people of the same generation far behind. In this sky dome realm, Shao Chen stood out like a crane among chickens. Only the Kunlun realm was Shao Chen's true stage. Only there could he meet geniuses equal to him, even geniuses that surpassed him. Xiao! Xiao Chen slowly landed on the ground. He carried the black wooden box on his back and continued walking towards Feng Feishue without stopping. Where did this little bastard come from? How dare he cause trouble in the Wan clan's palace? Have you asked for our 8 great guardian deities' permission? A shout came from behind. 8 beams of light quickly flew towards the center of the plaza. A strong aura spread out, kicking up 8 strong tornadoes. Wan Bao's face lit up in joy. He shouted coldly, with the 8 great guardian deities working together, you can even defeat a peak martial monarch. Let's see what other capabilities you have. The 8 great guardian deities are here. Startled cries came from the crowd in the plaza. The 8 great guardian deities were famous. Each of them was a superior grade martial monarch. Although they were not peak martial monarchs, the 8 of them knew a set of joint attacks. With their combined strength, they could severely injure a peak martial monarch. In the past few years, they had been guarding the Wan clan's palace. Their name struck fear in the hearts of all the thieves and bandits, preventing them from being impudent in the Wan clan. The vast wealth that the Wan clan had accumulated was not something that anyone dared to touch unless a martial sage appeared. This was all thanks to the 8 great guardian deities. Xiao! The 8 beams of light were as fast as lightning. They spread out and formed a simple encirclement around Xiao Chen. Their ferocious auras merged together and pressed down on Xiao Chen. Tuoba Yun, help me teach this brat a lesson. Let him know the consequences of causing trouble in the Wan clan, Wan Baolu said rudely with a sullen expression. Tuoba Yun revealed a ferocious smile. He said in a deep voice, I will listen to clan head's orders. In that case, I will give this little bastard an unforgettable lesson today. 8 great guardian deities, attack! Chi! The 8 flipped their palms at the same time, and an incredibly sharp weapon appeared in each of their hands. Then, they charged at Xiao Chen at lightning speed. Xiao Chen Emperor's S's Dao. Spirit Chen's SS, Emperor's Spirit. Xiao Chen's expression remained calm. He did not dare to be careless. He grasped the lunar shadow saber tightly, and saber lights danced around, blocking the 4 attacks in front of him. The 8 martial emperors worked very well together. Just as Xiao Chen blocked the attacks of the 3 in front, a sword light flew at him from his left and right. The sword light was bone-chilling, heading for a fatal acupoint on the side of Xiao Chen's head. At the same time, a thunderous roar came from behind him. Without needing to turn his head, Xiao Chen could see it with his spiritual sense. It was a martial monarch using a thick saber. As he hacked down, purple electricity leaped around his saber. The state he comprehended was the same as Xiao Chen's, a peak lightning-attributed state. Xiao Chen's path of retreat was sealed, and the 3 martial monarchs in front had regrouped and were waiting for him to charge over. There was also the elusive Tuoba Yun, who was hiding somewhere. He watched Xiao Chen coldly like a venomous snake. When the 8 great guardian deities attacked, they forced Xiao Chen into a dead end. If he was not careful, he would fall immediately. The other cultivators in the plaza all felt their hearts leap to their throats. There had long been rumors that the 8 great guardian deities could defeat a peak martial monarch, a half-sage powerhouse, when they worked together. In the past, some people did not believe it. However, now that they saw the 8 of them attacking, no one dared to doubt it. These 8 people worked together perfectly. Furthermore, they were all pretty strong. Their cultivation techniques, martial techniques, and combat experience were not lacking. Roaming Dragon's 9 transformations. Xiao Chen shouted, and his figure split into 9. 3 of them flew forward, and 2 of them attacked from the left and right, holding the lunar shadow saber. One of the figures turned around and clashed with the storm-like saber strike behind him. The remaining 4 figures soared into the air, standing on azure dragons. Dragon roars resounded. The 4 clones made it hard to tell which one was the real one. In the time it took for a spark to fly, 9 figures suddenly appeared and attacked from all directions. In an instant, that terrifying crisis was resolved. Insignificant tricks, and you dare to embarrass yourself? A cold shout resounded in the air. Tuoba Yun, who had been waiting patiently, suddenly made his move. It was unknown where he came from, but he held a short sword with a flowing light in his hand. He stabbed at Xiao Chen's true body. Unexpectedly, he found Xiao Chen's true body in an instant. Boom! 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 The other 8 great guardian deities also used their various means to destroy the 5 afterimages below them in the blink of an eye. The 7 stout men trusted Tuoba Yun very much. When they saw him attack one of the clones, the weapons in their hands gleamed with sharp lights. They soared into the air and did not hesitate to charge over decisively. Blue Dragon Tail Whip. When Xiao Chen saw the situation, he did not panic at all. He merged the 4 clones together and turned into an ancient blue dragon. As the dragon tail swayed, it kicked up a strong wind. Xiao Chen's body arced through the air at lightning speed. He was so fast that a spatial tear appeared in space, allowing him to dodge Tuoba Yun's attack. Xiao Chen arrived before the last person of the 8 great guardian deities. He instantly unleashed the peak state of massacre hidden in his eyes and merged it with the immortal state of thunder. Purple and red lights flickered strangely on the saber's edge. The sudden appearance of the state of massacre caused the last stout man's heart to tremble for some reason. This person had experienced hundreds of battles and was also a ruthless person. The number of people he had killed was no less than Xiao Chen's. After being distracted for a moment, he recovered his wits. However, in a fight between experts, a single mistake in one breath could instantly determine the victor. 4 Seasons Saber Technique, Spring Saber, Thunder Shaking the World. Xiao Chen used his quintessence to drive the 4 Seasons Saber Technique. Using the power of the cycle of seasons, heaven and earth trembled as Xiao Chen hacked down with his saber. The aura on the saber was boundlessly majestic. The 4 seasons cycled, and spring thunder boomed. Everything in the world came to life. All sorts of birds, beasts, and bugs chirped continuously. 8th brother, be careful. Tuoba Yun cried out when he saw this scene. He had not expected Xiao Chen to be so crafty. With one glance, Xiao Chen saw the weakest person among them. When he found an opportunity, he decisively executed a killing move. The face of the 8th stout man sank. At this critical moment, he did not panic. He sheathed his weapon at his waist and pushed his hands toward the sky. A dazzling golden lotus platform formed above his head. He infused his quintessence into it, trying to block Xiao Chen's saber strike. Clang! When the saber struck the golden lotus platform, it gave off an intense metallic clang. Boundless shock waves surged out, forming ripples that layered over each other, turning everything blurry. The saber's hum suddenly rang out. Xiao Chen infused his 60% comprehended saber intent into the saber, instantly increasing the might of this saber strike by 30%. Ka Xie! Ka Xie! Cracks appeared on the golden lotus platform. It looked like it would shatter at any moment. Tuoba Yun said sullenly, 8 great guardian deities, execute your combined attack. Shield! Xiao! Xiao! Figures flashed, and the remaining 7 lined up behind the 8th stout man. They sheathed their weapons at their waists and pressed their palms together in that instant. Rings of 5-colored light spread out from the 8 people. The 8 great guardian deities used a mysterious method to perfectly link everyone's aura together. Bang! The lotus platform shattered, and the 4 season saber technique spring saber descended on the 8th stout man. When the surging energy struck the rings of light, it immediately scattered. At this moment, the energy contained in the spring thunder chop was evenly distributed among the 8 people. Its might immediately decreased significantly. Blood leaked out of the corner of the 8th stout man's lips. However, he did not show much pain on his face. Instead, he revealed an extremely ferocious expression. Retreat! Originally, Xiao Chen had intended to use lightning-quick means to severely injure the weakest person first. Who knew, the other party's combined attack could be used defensively, splitting the might of the spring thunder chop. Xiao Chen's surprise attack failed, and he lost the initiative. The blue dragon under him roared ferociously, and Xiao Chen quickly flew backward. As the blue dragon moved, he retreated 500 meters in the blink of an eye. You think you can retreat? The 8 overlapping figures quickly switched positions, rearranging their positions according to their strength. Tuo Yun appeared at the very front, and the other 7 lined up behind him. Tuo Yun shouted, and a tiny flame spear appeared in front of him, flickering with a faint light. Paw! 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 The 8 great guardian deities placed their right palms on the back of the person in front, sending out their quintessence. Tuo Yun, who was at the very front, received the power of 7 people. His aura soared, and the flame spear crackled as it burned. The fierce flames lit up the surroundings, and the temperature of the entire place soared. Combined attack, blazing flame spear. Attack! The flame spear pierced through space with a "shio" sound. In an instant, it appeared before Xiao Chen, sending out surging heat waves. A vast expanse of pitch-black emptiness formed in the air. It was as if the void itself was being burned away. When the people below saw this scene, they were frightened pale. If it were an ordinary person before this flame, they would have melted under the high temperature, they would not be able to resist it at all. Xiao Chen's face sank. The energy that the flame spear carried made his heart palpitate. The combined attack of these 8 people seemed to be quite extraordinary. Shio! 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 In the time it took for a spark to fly, Xiao Chen took 7 steps back in the air. With each step, he left behind an afterimage. Soon, he left behind 7 identical afterimages, maintaining the same posture as when he drew his saber. This was the Thunder Shadow Chop, the martial technique that Xiao Chen comprehended himself. He did not dare to underestimate this flame spear. He circulated all 99 drops of quintessence in his dantian. Bang! The 7 afterimages merged in that instant, separating and merging. This happened in less than a breath of time. The people below could not react in time. Chapter 635. Xiao Chen's saber chopped down on the blazing spear. There was a loud bang, and a surging heatwave spread out. A huge force exploded out, and Xiao Chen moved back 100 meters. Blood leaked out of a corner of his lips. A strange look flashed in Xiao Chen's eyes. The peak attacks of the 7 afterimages overlapped. Unexpectedly, the force that erupted out was slightly weaker. Tuo Yun laughed loudly and said, "Ignorant. You dare to clash head-on with our 8-division Heaven Dragon combination technique? White-robed bladesman, today is the day you die." Tuo Yun laughed loudly and waved his right hand. The horrifying blazing spear's might did not diminish as it continued flying at Xiao Chen. 4-season saber technique, Great Summer, burning to desolation. The blazing spear pierced through space, moving even faster than lightning. With no way to retreat, Xiao Chen decisively made his move, executing the most tyrannical move of the 4-season saber technique. The blazing sun hung high in the sky on a hot summer day. When Xiao Chen swung his saber, it was like the sun was descending from the 9 heavens, wanting to burn everything to desolation. Bang! Before everyone's astonished gazes, Xiao Chen did not choose to just defend. Instead, he continued to use force to break through. An even louder sound came from the sky as boundless flames spread out like fairies, turning into tiny arrows that shot out in all directions. Countless black dots appeared in the paper-like sky from the clash between burning to desolation and the blazing spear. Every black dot was a tiny spatial tear. However, due to the vastness of the sky, they looked as insignificant as black dots. When the fire wave scattered, blood leaked out of a corner of Xiao Chen's lips again. However, there were no wounds on his body at all. Xiao Chen's limbs and bones were intact. As he stood in the air, his aura did not diminish. Doubt appeared in Tuo Yun's eyes. He muttered, "That should not be the case. I know how strong his physical body is. However, the shock wave of this blazing spear should be able to tear a peak martial monarch into pieces." Big brother, that brat seems to have a high-rank defensive artifact on him, a person behind him said quickly. Tuoba Yun looked carefully and discovered a faint blue light slowly fading from Xiao Chen's clear wind robes. Greed flashed in his eyes as he smiled maniacally. It is indeed a superior-grade defensive secret treasure. This is a good item. Even the Wan clan only has a few superior-grade secret treasures. Brothers, disperse first. Later, we'll launch a few more joint attacks and kill him directly through the artifact. This high-rank inner vest will be ours. Hoo-hoo. The 8 figures quickly separated and turned into 8 beams of light. With a wave of their hands, the weapons at their waists appeared in their hands once more. Then, they charged at Xiao Chen. Clang clang clang. A thrilling and intense battle once again unfolded in midair. The 8 of them cooperated with tacit understanding, suppressing Xiao Chen on the battlefield. The barrage of attacks continued without end. Xiao Chen's expression was calm, and his mind was not in a mess. He did not intend to use his full strength. The 8 great guardian deities were not Xiao Chen's true enemies. Wan Feng, who was watching him from below, was the true opponent. Although the killing intent in Wan Feng's eyes was very well hidden, it did not escape Xiao Chen's notice. There is no such thing as perfect cooperation in the world. There will definitely be openings. After making up his mind, Xiao Chen hid some of his trump cards. Under the barrage of attacks, he brandished his saber lights and dealt with them calmly. Xiao! The elusive Tuoba Yun suddenly appeared. Taking advantage of the moment Xiao Chen retreated, he thrust his short sword towards his heart. Xiao Chen had expected this long ago. He lowered his saber, and his saber intent, combined with the state of massacre and state of thunder, chopped down. Boom! Tuoba Yun was knocked back. In this one-on-one clash, he was knocked back by Xiao Chen's saber. Xiao Chen easily repelled Tuoba Yun's several sneak attacks. Shock flashed in Tuoba Yun's eyes as he said, "Form the formation." 8 Division Heaven Dragon combined technique. Xiao! The 7 gave up on attacking and returned to Tuoba Yun's back. Then, they sent out rings of 5-colored light and merged their auras. Combined technique. Blazing spear. Kill. Bang. Bang. Xiao Chen first used the Thunder Shadow Chop to dissipate half of the spear's energy. Then, he executed Burning to Desolation, shattering the spear. The shock wave pierced through Xiao Chen's protective quintessence, penetrated his superior-grade inner vest, and struck his internal organs. Blood leaked out of a corner of Xiao Chen's mouth again. He blocked it again. Xiao Chen blocked the combined technique that can severely injure a peak martial monarch to the point of death again. The tens of thousands of guests in the plaza were all shocked. The 8 great guardian deities had used this combined technique to kill many peak martial monarchs. However, Xiao Chen blocked it twice today. Not only did he not get torn to shreds, but he did not even show any signs of severe injuries. Wan Baolu was somewhat shocked as well. However, he did not panic. He smiled faintly and said, "The 8 great guardian deities have never failed before. This time, they will not." What white-robed bladesman? To think that he dares to behave atrociously in my Wan clan. Tuoba Yun's expression turned sullen. Clearly, he had not expected Xiao Chen to be so difficult to deal with. He said angrily, "Scatter. Let's do it a few more times. I don't believe that this brat can continue." Seeing the 8 scatter again, Xiao Chen's eyes lit up as he entered deep thought. The body was a vessel, and the quintessence was the liquid in the vessel. When the vessel suddenly had to endure several times the usual amount of liquid, it would definitely be under immense pressure. After enduring such immense pressure, the physical body would definitely suffer some damage and need to recuperate. Tuoba Yun was such a vessel. Suddenly enduring 8 times the usual amount of quintessence, his physical body would definitely be injured. Otherwise, Tuoba Yun would not have immediately stopped after executing the combined technique. It would have been better to continue attacking. Xiao Chen thought back to earlier. When the 8 surrounded him, Tuoba Yun always hid at the back and attacked. He was probably making use of this time to recover his physical body. Xiao Chen suddenly understood. He smiled and said, "So, that's how it is. In that case, you will not have a third chance." Right now, Tuoba Yun was at his weakest. This was the best time to make a move. Earlier, Xiao Chen thought that Tuoba Yun was the strongest. Hence, he looked for the others to break through and destroy them one by one. This was fundamentally the wrong direction. Understanding this, Xiao Chen pushed off the air and charged at Tuoba Yun, who was hiding at the back. Seeing Xiao Chen dodge the others' attacks and charge at him, fear flashed in Tuoba Yun's eyes. He said, "Stop him. Later, we will burn our quintessence and execute the combined technique. He will definitely die." Clearly, the other 7 knew Tuoba Yun's current state. They all stepped forward, releasing lights of various colors as they executed their best moves. Xiao Chen dodged all the attacks. If he could not dodge, he used his superior grade inner vest to block them. What's wrong with this fellow? Such a scene confused the onlookers. Xiao Chen did not chase after the weaker people. Instead, he fought with the strongest. This did not make sense. Standing on a blue dragon, Xiao Chen blocked the 3 attacks. Then, he took 7 steps forward and finally encased Tuoba Yun in his saber technique. He said coldly, "Where can you run to?" The wind rustled, the rain fell, and the autumn waters rippled. A beautiful woman smiled faintly. "I'll give you a gentle saber strike. Do you dare to receive it?" Xiao Chen executed the autumn saber of the 4-season saber technique. A gentle saber light, like a pretty woman smiling faintly, appeared magnificent. Tuoba Yun was forced into a corner. He roared ferociously and burned his quintessence. He sent out a light barrier with his short sword, trying to receive this saber strike. Bang! The gentle saber light contained a boundless force. The light barrier in front of Tuoba Yun shattered, and he went flying back, vomiting a large mouthful of blood. Before Tuoba Yun could recover from the aftereffects of executing a joint martial technique, he was severely injured. His complexion immediately paled, and he temporarily lost his combat prowess. "Big brother," the other 7 exclaimed. They all burned their quintessence and charged at Xiao Chen in rage. Bang! Xiao Chen stomped heavily on the blue dragon image below, and the entire place trembled. When he saw the 7 charging at him, he smiled coldly and said, "Without a joint martial technique, what 8 great guardian deities are they?" With one of the 8 great guardian deities removed, a hole immediately appeared in their originally perfect encirclement and tacit cooperation. No matter what they did, it would be useless. Even if the other party burned their quintessence, it would be wishful thinking for them to defeat Xiao Chen quickly. The difference between Xiao Chen and them had never been in quintessence. Xiao Chen stomped heavily on the blue dragon image and infused his quintessence into his entire body. The purple thunder true fire in his right eye slowly circulated. Bang! A ring of purple flames soared up from Xiao Chen's body. At this moment, Xiao Chen's surging quintessence burned as well. Furthermore, he burned it with the extreme yang purple thunder true fire. Xiao! In just an instant, Xiao Chen felt that he had exhausted 1% of his quintessence. The benefit was that the hidden energy in his body was more than 4 times stronger than before. Xiao Chen's aura soared, becoming exceptionally horrifying. The many cultivators below only took one look and felt a deep fear. They could not help but take a few steps back. Before Xiao Chen, the ferocious aura of the remaining 7 of the 8 great guardian deities vanished without a trace. In comparison, even though the remaining 7 of the 8 great guardian deities burned their quintessence, they were like children before Xiao Chen, who burned his quintessence. The difference in foundation multiplied by the same amount. The person with the higher foundation would instantly widen the gap. Clearly, Xiao Chen belonged to the category of people with the higher foundation. Burning his quintessence exhausted a lot of energy. Xiao Chen no longer had any reason to continue wasting time. He shouted ferociously and took the initiative to charge over. Xiao Chen took 7 steps in the air, each step leaving behind an afterimage. Each afterimage sent out a saber strike, and each saber strike contained a different state. If they did not have the same appearance, others would not be able to tell that these were the clones formed by Xiao Chen's afterimages. It was hard to imagine that a clone could reach such a level. Even its expression was different. When Gong Yangyu, who was below, saw this scene, the usually calm Gong Yangyu could not help but stand up excitedly. He pointed at Xiao Chen in the air and muttered, "It really is my everlasting universe. How can it surpass me by so much?" Earlier, when Xiao Chen used the Thunder Shadow Chop twice, Gong Yangyu only felt that it looked familiar. However, he could not be sure. Now that Xiao Chen executed the Thunder Shadow Chop after burning his quintessence, he was finally sure. When Gong Yangyu looked at Xiao Chen, he felt that Xiao Chen was very scary. What kind of talent does one have to have such a strong learning ability? Bang! 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 7 muffled groans resounded. The saber strikes from the afterimages knocked the remaining 7 of the 8 great guardian deities back. Their expressions were extremely unsightly. Merge! The 7 afterimages merged. Xiao Chen's saber strike contained a 7-fold attack power. When it swept out, the person in front of him blocked for a moment before his weapon shattered. Chapter 636. He turned into a beam of light and moved a kilometer. Then, he landed on a tall building in the Wan clan's palace. There was a startling explosion, and it was unknown whether he was dead or alive. The remaining 6 were startled. As they looked at Xiao Chen, who was like a killing god, they could not help but reveal expressions of horror. Xiao Chen smiled gently and pushed off the air. Then, he charged at the remaining 6 at lightning speed. When he attacked, saber lights flew everywhere, showing no mercy. When Wan Baolu saw the 8 great guardian deities on the verge of defeat, his previously calm expression finally showed some panic. The 8 great guardian deities had been famous for decades. They had helped the Wan clan defeat many enemies. Unexpectedly, they were about to be defeated by a brat today. Wan Shan quickly ordered people to bring Feng Feishuo to the back. Then, he said to Wan Baolu in shock, "Father, what should we do? We have to ask the old ancestor to come out. This Xiao Chen is too strong." Wan Baolu's expression turned grave. He said sullenly, "He is now the bearer of luck. The martial sages of the Sky Dome realm cannot make a move against him. Sima Hong is an example. There will be dire consequences. Pass down my orders. Gather all the martial king and martial saint experts in the city. Even an elephant can die if there are enough ants. Today, I will wear him down." As Wan Feng watched Wan Shan leave in a hurry, rage flashed in his eyes. He gently knocked on the table twice and said calmly, "Uncle, are you looking down on my strength? You still want to call a large group of trash over?" Wan Baolu had not expected Wan Feng to really make a move. He rejoiced in his heart and quickly said, "That's not it. How could I know that with honorable nephew's status, you would really make a move to deal with a king-grade true dragon genius?" Wan Feng shouted coldly, "A king-grade true dragon genius? Huh. If he loses to me, then he is not. No matter who it is, they will not be able to stop the Wan clan from swallowing up the Feng clan and cutting off my source of income. How can I just sit back and watch?" While Wan Baolu spoke, Xiao Chen, who had already burned his quintessence, took advantage of the situation to defeat the remaining 8 great guardian deities. Then, he sheathed his saber and quickly extinguished his burning quintessence. In merely 10 breaths, half of Xiao Chen's 99 drops of quintessence were gone. The rate of consumption was horrifying. "Xiao!" Wan Feng smiled sinisterly. While Xiao Chen extinguished the quintessence flames, he suddenly stood up and attacked at lightning speed. With a cold whistle, a long line of ice floated in the air and arrived in front of Xiao Chen at an incredible speed. With a wave of his palm, a wave of yin qi spread out from the center of his palm, causing people to feel a chill in their hearts. It was a chill that penetrated deep into their hearts. Taking advantage of the moment when Xiaochen finished his battle and retreated to launch a sneak attack, such actions were extremely despicable. Many of the guests could not help but speak in disdain. Even if Xiaochen had some expectations in his heart, he didn't expect this person to be so despicable. The dignified seal envoy of Bushan Palace shamelessly launched a sneak attack without declaring war. In the time it took for a spark to fly, Xiaochen did not have time to draw his saber. He clenched his right fist and merged his vital chi and veritable essence energy, circulating the dragon claw fist's berserk dragon stance. Bang! The fist and palm collided and gave off a loud sound. Surging shockwaves spread out in layers. Countless snowflakes could be seen drifting out from the shockwaves. A white figure flew back from the shockwaves. It was Xiaochen. Caught off guard, he suffered a huge disadvantage in the clash of strength. However, the unmoving Wan Feng was not unscathed. There were 3 faint claw marks on the right side of his face, the work of Xiaochen. Before Xiaochen retreated, he suddenly changed his move, turning his fist into a claw and catching his opponent off guard. Clearly, Wan Feng had not expected Xiaochen to have an opportunity to counterattack in such a situation. Pu Ci. After landing, Xiaochen did not forcefully suppress his injuries. He immediately vomited a mouthful of blood and felt much more comfortable. He had a superior grade inner vest. Although this palm strike was uncomfortable, it was not as severe as it looked. Only his right arm was covered in frost. Xiaochen's arm turned stiff, unable to move for some time. His opponent's quintessence was extremely strange. As the welcoming envoy, you actually sneak attacked me? You are too much. When Yu Chenxi saw that Xiaochen was injured, she ignored the old man beside her and flew up, sending a punch at Wan Feng. Yu Chenxi had never been a good-tempered person. She had long since felt uncomfortable with Wan Feng's gaze. Now that she saw him sneak attacking again, she did not hesitate to make a move. A rising sun flickered behind Yu Chenxi, and the light on her fist burst forth, turning into a boundless fist wind as she attacked Wan Feng. Wan Feng's lips curled up as he smiled disapprovingly. What does this lass know? All is fair in war. The victor does not need to care about what others think. Scram! Wan Feng's figure flickered, and before anyone could see him move, the boundless light froze, turning into ice shards that fell from the sky. It looked extremely strange. Unexpectedly, the light froze. This was the first time Yu Chenxi had seen such a situation, so she was stunned. Only when Wan Feng rushed over did she react. You are making a fuss over nothing. We are in the middle of a battle, yet you are letting your imagination run wild. Go back, lowly ant. Wan Feng smacked Yu Chenxi's fist with his palm. He laughed loudly, and a cold energy erupted. Yu Chenxi vomited a mouthful of blood and fell to the ground, sliding far away. The old man from the Haotian sect was enraged. He stood up and said, Wan Feng, you are too heavy-handed. Wan Feng looked at the old man, and an unhappy expression flashed in his eyes. He smiled coldly and said, You are asking for it. What does it have to do with me? Also, don't act like a senior in front of me. If you were an elder of the Haotian sect, I would give you some face. Unfortunately, you are not. Don't go overboard. The old man shouted angrily as he pointed at Wan Feng. Wan Feng's expression changed. He charged over and demanded in a cold voice, You still dare to put on airs? Bang! 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 Wan Feng sent out 3 palm strikes at lightning speed, sending the old man flying. The old man vomited 3 mouthfuls of blood and fell to the ground, unable to get up again. A ferocious aura spread out. Wan Feng appeared incredibly tyrannical. With just one glance, he could make anyone tremble in fear. You overestimate yourself. Wan Feng smiled coldly as he looked around. He did not care about these lower realm people at all. Then, it shot toward Xiaochen, whose arm was still numb, like an arrow. Feng Tianming reacted and said, We can't stop him. Don't let him take advantage of the situation to defeat Xiao Chen. Whoosh! Feng Tianming and the other 4 personal guards instantly ignited their quintessence. They did not hold back at all as they charged at Wan Feng. They did not hope to defeat him. They only hoped to buy some time for Xiao Chen to recover and buy some time. Wan Feng laughed loudly. He did not slow down at all. Motes of white light appeared on his palm, making it look smooth and transparent. There was no bright light or horrifying quintessence fluctuation. When Wan Feng threw a palm strike, the quintessence fluctuation of the guard in front of him froze. As Wan Feng advanced, the ice shattered, turning into ice shards. The scene of what happened to Yu Chenxi earlier replayed. Bang! This guard vomited a mouthful of blood. Before he could disperse the cold qi in his body, he turned into an ice sculpture and fell to the ground. Ka Xie! Ka Xie! The ice sculpture shattered, and the guard's body, which was originally made of flesh and blood, shattered into pieces. It was a tragic sight to behold. A bona fide peak inferior grade martial monarch was reduced to nothing in one move by Wan Feng. The surrounding guests were all heroes of their regions, the powerhouses of their sects, young talents, and the top rankers of the True Dragon ranking. When they saw this horrifying scene, they all paled. Their hearts trembled in fear. Bang! 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 Wan Feng's figure flashed as he sent out 3 palm strikes. Snowflakes drifted down, and another 3 ice sculptures fell, shattering into pieces. His methods were extremely cruel. When Feng Tianming saw the 3 people who had followed him for decades die just like that, his eyes turned bloodshot. He burned all the essence in his body. A fiery red lotus flower bloomed under Feng Tianming's feet, and his aura soared to peak martial monarch. Then, he sent out a palm strike, carrying a heat wave. Wan Feng revealed disdain on his face. He smiled coldly and said, "If your quintessence is not dense enough, it is useless no matter how many you have." Scram! Compared to Feng Tianming, Wan Feng's aura was very reserved. Only his right palm gave off a cold light. He did not leak any essence anywhere else. Bang! Wan Feng clashed head-on with Feng Tianming's full-powered strike, but he only took 3 steps back in the air. Feng Tianming flew back like a meteor and fell to the ground, severely injured, unable to get up again. Wan Feng waved his sleeves and laughed softly, "You are really powerful. You did not die from my palm strike. However, in the end, an ant will just be an ant. A lower realm martial monarch is not even worth a fart to me." Originally, Wan Baolu had been watching Wan Feng display his might and defeat the group of people. When Wan Baolu, who was already beaming with joy, heard this sentence, his face involuntarily twitched. Wan Feng said that lower realm martial monarchs were not worth shit. Since Wan Feng himself was a martial monarch, did that not mean he was scolding Wan Feng as well? The geniuses in the top 10 of the True Dragon ranking all showed unconvinced expressions, glaring at Wan Feng. Wan Feng's words were too hurtful. Seeing their expressions, Wan Feng laughed loudly and said, "Are you not convinced? When you go to the Kunlun realm, you will know what you are. You will know why I look down on you. Don't think that I am boasting. Your so-called True Dragon ranking is just a joke in my eyes. If 2 or 3 of you can rise up in this great era, then you will be lucky. Damn it, I have a taste of your skills." Bai Qi was slightly angered in his heart. He was also a prideful person. Being looked down upon by Wan Feng, coupled with the fact that Wan Feng was young and impetuous, he was naturally furious. 4 Seasons Saber Technique, Cycle of Seasons. Xiao Chen soared up, and a saber light flickered as he executed the strongest move of the 4 Seasons Saber Technique. I, Gong Yangyu, would also like to experience the might of the Guide Envoy. I, Lu Xiaoyun, would like to give it a try as well. I, Nangong Ziyue, would like to experience your skills as well. Xiao! 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 7 figures soared into the air. The top few of the True Dragon ranking all flew up at the same time, charging at Wan Feng. Wan Feng revealed disdain on his face. He smiled coldly and said, "No matter how many ants there are, it is useless. Before going to the Kunlun realm, I will first suppress your pride, which is not even worth shit." Suddenly, Wan Feng released his aura, which he had been holding back. A strong icy aura spread out. That icy chi was bone-chilling, heartless and heartless. Whoosh! 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 The surrounding energy, sword wind, and fist lights turned into ice shards under the assault of this cold chi. They fell and blasted deep pits in the ground. You're tuning into the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.